Welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the live show. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. It is currently 1:19 a.m. And of course, today is the 26th of January 2025. I am back for another episode. If you're here, double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. Uh, I'm here late today. Well, we've been here this late before, even way later than this. But recently we've been coming here earlier. However, something really um sad to say, but it happened, and it got me all down all day. You see my eyes, but life goes on, and God is great. That's all I gotta say. God is great. Okay, of course, Trump, like he mentioned, he said he was going to keep the rallies going. Um, yeah, he's here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and here you have it. He kept his promises. He kept his promises on the rallies as well. He said he was going to keep the rallies going. And here he is in Las Vegas, Nevada with another rally. All right, we're going to see this clip right here, and it is going to be fun. It is going to be fun. God is great. God is good. And let's get it.
And it's great to be back in this beautiful city to celebrate the historic first week in the White House. That was definitely historic. And I had a lot of help in winning. Joe Lombardo, your governor, is here someplace. Where's Joe? Thank you, Joe. You're looking good, Joe. Thank you very much. What a group. But look at who you have next to you. How can you fail with that guy? Also, Lieutenant Governor Stavros Anthony. Stavros, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Where are you? There you are, Stavros. You're very good. Is he doing a good job, Joe? I think so, huh? He's all right. Nevada GOP Chair Michael McDonald. He did something which not a lot of people have been able to do, but I think Republicans are going to start winning the state. You know, typically they don't necessarily do so good. We did really well. We won in a landslide. That's really why I'm here, I must be honest with you. Republican National Committee woman Sigal Chattah. Sigal, thank you, wherever you may be. Hi, Sigal, thank you very much. Republican National Committeeman Jim DeGraffin Reed. That's a hell of a beautiful name, but I know the name so long, it's easy to say. One of the greatest people, I'll tell you, a man who's done so damn well. I don't know what it is with him. He's just a legend. He's one person, you know, we can all sort of be replaced, although we don't like to think that. Maybe it's not true. But this is a guy that can't be replaced. There's nobody like him. Dana White. Where's Dana White? Where's Dana White? Where the hell is he? UFC. He's great. Are the Nelk Boys here? Oh, yeah, there they are, the Nelk Boys right there. And Rick Harrison. Rick, thank you very much for being here. If you're around here someplace with Dana. Mr. Phil Ruffin, his wife Alexandra, and their two beautiful children, Richard and Marlena. Phil, where's Ruffin? Where's Phil Ruffin? He's right here. So he's some legend, I'll tell you. He's a legend in Las Vegas and beyond. Phil, he's here. He'll be coming out. Today we talk about how we're going to end the economic suffering and stagnation and disaster of the past 4 years and create the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. And as I said in my inaugural address, which, by the way, it got the highest rating in the history of Fox. Did you believe that? That's nice. The golden age of America begins right now, but I have to be honest with you. I'm really here for a different reason. I'm here to say thank you. I went to North Carolina yesterday, and then I flew to see just an unbelievable problem in just a mess in Los Angeles, right? And I said, you know what I ought to do? I want to come to a state known as Nevada. Has anyone ever heard of it? And don't ever mispronounce the name. You're not allowed to do that. You mispronounce the name, you got a problem. You ever see somebody when they say it's Nevada? Nevada? No, they're in deep trouble. I want to come to Nevada to pay my respects because this is the only Republican win of this state in decades, and it was a very big landslide. So, but I think Republicans are going to win a lot now. But we had a big win, and it was an early win, and that was a bad signal for the Democrats. They heard that we were leading so big here, and Joe helped us so much, and a lot of people in this room helped us a lot. Special group. And so I said, you know what I'll do? We're going to fly around it. And I said, let's fly right over it. Let's land, and I'll do something, and I'll just say it. But I want to say it, and I'm almost saying it right here for the media. I just came here because I wanted to thank the people of Nevada for giving us such a big win. I'll be here all day. Under our leadership, we're going to defeat inflation, bring down prices. We're going to raise those wages. They're going to go up. They're going to go up. Put more money in your pocket, secure our borders, restore law and order to our cities, and we're going to make America great again. And for 4 long years, the last administration waged war on the American middle class and everybody else. They had a lot of wars. We had no wars when I left. We defeated ISIS, and we stayed out. Nobody wanted to mess with us. They had a lot of wars. We're trying to put them out. We'll get them put out. Don't worry, we'll get them put out. We were headed to World War III. I'm telling you, we would have had problems like you wouldn't believe. They shut down American energy, buried you in crippling regulation, imposed hidden taxes, and spent trillions and trillions of dollars on waste, corruption, and radical left lunacy. These were lunatics. The result was the most brutal inflation in a half a century, perhaps ever, in this country. I think ever. And soaring prices for food, groceries, and other household goods. The people of Nevada are now paying nearly $1,200 per month more to make ends meet since I left office. Think of that, $1,200 at least. But since I became the 47th president at noon on Monday, I've been moving with urgency and historic speed to fix every single calamity of the Biden administration that they've created. And this week alone, I took nearly 350 executive actions to reverse the horrible failures and betrayals that we inherited from a group of people that didn't know what the hell they were doing, what they've done to this country, especially the open borders, where they have, think of it, 21 million people came in. Many of them are criminals, murderers. Well, we're getting them out. You see it. You see it yesterday, first day. Our message could not be more clear. America's decline is over. American decline is over. We're laughed at all over the world. Now we're not laughed at anymore, I'll tell you. What the world witnessed this week is nothing less than a revolution of wealth creation for everyone and also common sense. It's about common sense. It really is. We're the party of common sense. On day one, I directed every member of my cabinet to, and by the way, Pete Hegseth got approved. And Kristi Noem just got approved, Governor. She's going to keep it. She's tough. She's a tough one. She's a tough one. and she's going to do a great job. On day one, I directed every member of my cabinet to marshal all powers at their disposal to defeat inflation and bring down the cost of daily life. We want to bring prices down. Too high. They went way up. They didn't come down. I imposed a federal hiring freeze, a federal regulation freeze, a foreign aid freeze. Oh, that's a nice one. And I created the new Department of Government Efficiency, and we're going to have a lot of good people. Elon, we're going to get Elon Musk to get involved in that a little bit. He already is. People like him. I terminated the ridiculous and incredibly wasteful Green New Scam. Wasn't the environment supposed to eat us up like in 12 years? But that was like 13 years ago. What happened? We're still here. We're still here. Remember, we have 12 years to live. Remember that? Done by somebody that never even took a course on the environment. AOC plus 3. Do you remember those three? They were telling us about the environment. AOC plus 3. This action alone will save hundreds of billions of dollars of American taxpayers' money. I withdrew from the one-sided Paris Climate Accord. And I canceled the insane and costly electric vehicle mandate, keeping my sacred pledge to America's auto workers. Boy, did we get a big vote with the auto workers. And the Teamsters. Any Teamster in the room? We got a tremendous vote from the Teamsters. Thank you. They're pointing like one guy over. But they voted for us in the millions, so we had a lot of Teamsters voting for us. I withdrew from the World Health Organization, where we paid $500 million a year, and China paid $39 million a year, despite a much larger population. Think of that. China's paying $39 million to have 1.4 billion people. We pay $500 million. We have nobody knows what the hell we have. Does anyone know? We have so many people pouring in. We have no idea. We go up, but we're going down a little bit now. You don't mind that, do you? Going to take some bad ones out. I withdrew 4 years ago, but Biden immediately went back for even more money. I mean, he went back, and they offered me at $39 million. They said, we'll let you back in at 39. So we're going to reduce it from 500 to 39. I turned them down because it became so popular. I didn't know if it would be well received even at 39. But maybe we would consider doing it again. I don't know. Maybe we would. They have to clean it up a little bit. But China pays $39 million for 1.4 billion, and we're paying $500 million for 325 million. I don't know. What the hell is wrong with these people? And then when Biden went back in, they immediately went back in. They paid more than we were paying in the first place. They paid more than the $500 million. So they knew they could have had it for 39. They paid more. You wouldn't do that, Joe, right? Now think of it. They know they have a deal at 39, so they went back in at $525 million. What the hell? Man, oh man. It infuriates you, doesn't it? I declared a national energy emergency to unlock the liquid gold under our feet and pave the way for rapid approvals of the new energy infrastructure. The United States has the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we may be a very substantially enlarged country in the not too distant. Isn't it nice to see, for years, for decades, we're the same size to the square foot. Probably got smaller, actually. But we might be an enlarged country pretty soon. And one of the things we're going to be doing is drill, baby, drill. Because that's going to bring everything down. It's going to bring everything down. My administration has also begun the largest deregulation campaign in the history of our country, far exceeding. I had the record for you. We had a great economy, the greatest economy that we've ever had 4 years ago. But this is going to be better. You watch. This will be better even than the first term. And the reason I got elected was because of the first term. Somebody said, what was the reason you got elected? I mean, you won by so much. I said, my first term. That's all I did. I just said, well, take a look at the numbers. Take a look at the numbers. In total, the Biden administration imposed $50,000 in additional regulation costs. So the average American, and think of this, the average American was paying much more than $50,000. And, just think of it. Nobody can even believe the numbers. I promised to eliminate 10 old regulations for every new regulation. So if we put in a regulation, we have to get rid of 10. That's what I did. I did it 1 in 7. We're going to do 1 in 10 this time, which will soon put many thousands of dollars back into your pockets and the pockets of American families. As a result of the reforms, we've just begun to implement economic confidence, and it's soaring. So this week, Oracle, OpenAI, and SoftBank announced Stargate, a $500 billion investment in AI infrastructure, which is going to be very big for Nevada, I have to tell you, the largest in history, and which will create an estimated 100,000 American jobs. Saudi Arabia just said that they're going to invest at least $600 billion. This is because of the election, by the way. And I believe they'll make it $1 trillion. I'm going to ask them to make it $1 trillion. What the hell? The money means nothing to them. You know where they made their money? From liquid gold, right? They got a lot of liquid gold. We have more. We have more than Saudi Arabia. They've got a lot. We've got more. We got more than anybody. We just don't use it because of the environment. These people are crazy. And many other companies likewise are looking to invest, but I don't have enough time to do that. And we have a lot of news conferences. Everybody wants to have a news conference. They're calling up by the hundreds. We want to have a news conference. We're going to invest $12. I said, no, I don't do that. And I said, it's got to be $1 billion or more for a news conference. It's $1 billion or more. Just 2 days ago, because of our tariff plans, Stellantis announced, that's a very good automobile company, the revival of its Belvidere, Illinois plant, saving 1,500 American auto jobs that were previously headed to Canada, along with major investments to expand American auto production in Detroit, Michigan, Toledo, Ohio, and Kokomo, Indiana. Good place. All of these investments are happening only because of our historic victory. And if we didn't win, it'd be just the opposite. They're pulling out. They were pulling out. They were really pulling out. So they would be withdrawing money. Our country was on the verge of some of the very bad things, and bad things were happening. And now there's light not only over America. I've heard it from even our enemies. They call up and they say, sir, we hate you. We do hate you, but there's light over the world right now. They hate me. Some of them hate me. If they liked me, you got a problem, right? They like Sleepy Joe. What's not to like? They'd call up. It's funny. I was told today by one of the big leaders of the world, would call for a telephone call with the President of the United States a year ago. And they'd say, we'd like to speak with, who is this? It's the head of Germany, the head of, name it, the head of France, the name of any country, it didn't matter. He would never pick up the call. They'd say, he'll call you back in 2 months. 2 months. He has a schedule. He's extremely busy sleeping. No. Macron of France, he'll call you back in 2 months. So 2 months comes along and there's no call. They say, he didn't call. The stories are, these stories are not very exaggerated. I want to tell you, they're a little bit for laughter, but, it's only for laughter. The fake news will say, oh, he exaggerated. It was only 1 month, But he'll say he called you back, and then he'd never call, and then they could never get him on the phone. And the problem I have is that when I speak to and I speak to them immediately, they'll say, could we speak to the president? Would that be possible? We could do it any time over the next month. They're so used to this, right? I say, no, I'll pick it up right now. Is he on the phone? Yeah, hello, how you doing? That's what, get it over with, right? Get it over with. The only problem, they were so starved for love from the United States, I cannot get them off the phone. I can't get people, if you can't, I say, I have to go now, King, or I have to go now, President. But you can't get them off the phone. They're starved for love. For years they haven't spoken. They didn't even know we had a president, if you want to know. But under our leadership, America is back open for business, and it's really a big deal. It's really a big deal. And they have, though. They said, there's like a light all over the world now. It's not just here. We feel a light over our country. Everyone does. But there's a light all over the world. We've accomplished more in 1 week than other administrations have accomplished in 4 years, and we're just getting started. We got rid of the woke crap. What a lot of stuff. What a lot of crap that was. It was, and these people were petrified of it. I'll tell you, these companies, they run these big companies, they were petrified of it. It was like, I don't think they believed it. I'm sure they didn't believe it. Some I know didn't believe it, but they were so afraid. Near the top of the agenda for our historic Republican majorities in Congress is to pass a massive tax cut for American workers and families. Last year, we campaigned across the country at a pledge that I'm sure most of you didn't hear too much about, pledge to take the Trump tax cuts and make them permanent, and that's exactly what we're doing. In the coming weeks, I'll be working with Congress to get a bill on my desk that cuts taxes for workers, families, small businesses, and very importantly, keeps my promise for a thing called, and I know you didn't hear anything about this, and I'm sure it had no influence on the state, the fact that we won this crazy, massive majority, a state that hadn't been won by a Republican in decades. But I'm sure you haven't heard, but we're going to get it for you. No tax on tips. No tax on tips. So if you're a restaurant worker, a server, a valet, a bellhop, a bartender, or one of my caddies, I go through caddies like candy. If I play badly, I always blame my caddy. Or any other worker who relies on tipped income, your tips will be 100% yours. Won't that be nice? Joe, Governor, do you think that had an impact on the election? You do? Like what, a half a point? Pretty big. You had an impact, let me tell you. Nationwide, over 4 million workers depend on tip income, including an estimated 700,000 single moms. And here in Nevada, we will have a quarter, think of it, a quarter of the typical restaurant worker's pay comes from tips. I didn't know that much. That's a lot. You haven't been reporting them for the last 10 years. So here's our deal. We're going to have no tax on tips from now on, but we're going to go after you viciously for all the money you didn't report for the last 10, 15. We're going to go after you for all the money you didn't report for. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. I have to say to the fake news, because they're going to say Trump is after all restaurant workers. Many of these workers are some of the very citizens who were hit hard and very hard by the ravages of the Biden economy, which was inflation. When I think of Biden, I think of incompetence and inflation. Not being nice by saying. I'm being nice when I say that. Yet even in the midst of the suffering he created, Joe Biden launched a cruel campaign to extract more money from tip workers. And that's what happened. I'm telling you, a young waitress, I won't say beautiful because you're not allowed to say that as a politician. Used to be you could say a young, beautiful waitress. This was a young, beautiful waitress, but I won't say that because I feel like I want to continue my political career. If you call the governor won't say it. If you call a woman beautiful today, it's the end of your political career, so I won't do it. But a young waitress, I think you could call young. You're probably not even supposed to say young. Probably supposed to say a waitress. But a young waitress came up, and I said, how are you doing? And in my restaurant in the hotel in Trump, I said, how are you doing? And she said, not great, because they're after me so viciously for tips. They just want my tip income, and they don't believe me and all of this. And she said, it's terrible. You know, sir, you should have no tax on tips. I said, what? She said, what'd you just say? No tax on tips. That was about the amount of my consultation. It's true. No tax. I said, what did you just say? Say those words again. Sir, no tax on tips. I said, thank you very much. You just won the election. No, we did research into it. I think it's going to be great. But under the Trump administration, the forgotten men and women of our country are going to be forgotten no longer. You know that. They weren't forgotten 4 years ago. On day one, I immediately halted the hiring of any new IRS agents. You know, they hired or tried to hire 88,000 new workers to go after you, and we're in the process of developing a plan to either terminate all of them or maybe we'll move them to the border. I think we're going to move them to the border. Well, they're allowed to carry guns. You know, they're so strong on guns, but these people are allowed to carry guns, so we'll probably move them to the border. Yeah. She said no tax on it. How about just no tax? You could do that. You know, if the tariffs work out like I think, a thing like that could happen if you want to know the truth. You know, years ago, 1870 to 1913, we didn't have an income tax. What we had is tariffs, where foreign countries came in and they stole our jobs, they stole our companies, they stole our product, they ripped us off. And, you know, they used to do numbers, and then we went to a tariff system, and the tariff system made so much money. It was when we were the richest, from 1870 to 1913. Then we brilliantly came in with an income tax. No, we don't want others to pay. Let's have our people pay. And then you had the Depression in 1928, 1929. I call it 1929. That was a bad time, but, you know, you didn't have tariffs then. You had tariffs that ended in 1913. But it was the richest our country ever was. That was President McKinley. In fact, we're renaming the mountain, Mount McKinley, in Alaska. You know what else we're renaming? We're renaming the Gulf of Mexico into the Gulf of America. And Mexico, actually, they were thrilled when they heard. They said, that's nice. A few months from now, when I sign our tax cut into law, we're going to deliver for the tip-earning men and women who make it all work. I mean, it's going to be something very special, I think, for you. It's going to be a big difference. And with us today is Jessica Angiano, an employee here at Circa. This is a nice place, by the way, and I just met your owner. He's a nice man. He's rich, too. Very. But Circa's very nice, and a hard-working single mother of two with incredible children. Jessica's struggling to pay for medical bills to remove a tumor behind her right eye. She's had some real difficulty, and she's currently saving up for a second surgery, which will hopefully be very successful, while also paying for her children's daycare. Jessica says that no tax on tips would transform her life. It would make such a big difference. So, Jessica, we're going to get that for you. Where are you, Jessica? You around here someplace, huh? Hi, Jessica. Oh, so beautiful. Very nice. It's working out medically good? Everything good? Gonna be good. Thanks, Gonna. You look fantastic. It's good. You look great. Also with us is Lexi York, a 28-year-old cocktail server here at Circa, who's got big dreams of being an entrepreneur. Lexi says that no tax on tips will help bring those dreams much closer to reach, and she's going to be one of the biggest proponents for it. We're going to have a lot of support when we go before Congress very soon to get that passed. Lexi, where are you? Where are you? Hi, Lexi. Hi. Good. We'll get it done. And we're also pleased to be joined by Rosanna Maeda, President and CEO of the American Hotel and Lodging Association, which strongly supports this pro-worker reform. And Rosanna, would you like to come up and say a few words on behalf of so many people? Come on up. Come on up.
Mr. President, on behalf of the American Hotel and Lodging Association, I'm so honored to be here today. We represent 30,000 members around the country in an industry that represents more than 2 million hotel workers. And I'm here to tell you that the American dream is alive and well in the hotel industry today. It is still one of the few places where you can have and grow your career, starting a job as a housekeeper or a dishwasher or bellhop, to running a hotel, to owning a hotel or a few, and to even becoming the CEO of a global brand or President of the United States. Mr. President, in 2017, the tax bill that you championed cut taxes for so many working families and American workers. It helped small businesses, hotel owners in our country who make up the majority of the industry reinvest in the economy, spurring jobs and growing and strengthening the economy. And the no tax on tips builds on that momentum. And so we're so excited to support you in that effort. That's why we're here today. We stand with you to urge Congress to pass this proposal so that more than the 800,000 hotel workers who benefit from these from tips, many who are here in the room today, representing all types of jobs, from restaurant workers to housekeepers to bellhops and so many others, can take home more of the pay that they earn every day. So thank you for having us and for promoting this proposal.
Thank you very much, Jessica. Great. After 4 long years, and these were long years of a government that always put you last. They put America last, they put you last, they put everybody last that was associated with us. You once again have a president who's putting our workers first, putting our families first, and above all, putting America first. And we're going to keep America first, and you see it. We're restoring our prosperity. We're restoring our borders. We're restoring our strength, our dignity, and our pride. We've been hurt badly by this group of people. This group of people, they didn't have a clue what the hell was happening. It's so disgraceful that they were allowed to do it. But quite honestly, we're restoring our country. Within hours of taking the oath of office, I declared a national emergency at our southern border. I sent active duty troops to the border to help repel the invasion. Tom Homan is leading the charge, you know that. We like Tom Homan, right? Doing a great job. We immediately halted all illegal entry and began sending every border trespasser and violator back to the places from which they came. I signed an order that will designate the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. It's a big deal. That's a big deal. Biden didn't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. Biden didn't know he was alive. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do that. I always wanted to do it, you know. I mean, think of it. Is that a terrorist organization or what? And we began to leverage the full and immense power of federal government and state government and enforcement to eliminate the presence of all foreign gangs and criminal networks bringing devastating crime to American soil. And we don't allow people to enter our country and to dump their prisons into the United States of America anymore. When we see that, our people are instructed to do whatever they have to do. They can do whatever the hell they want to do. Throughout this week, the heroes of ICE have been hunting down and arresting hundreds of illegal alien criminals. And its immediate expulsion, including those with charges of convictions for rape, child sexual assault, terrorism, and even murder. Members of the savage Venezuelan prison gang known as Tren de Aragua. You know that gang? This is not a nice group of people. They formed in prison And then they dumped their prisons into our country, so we had them. We had them all over the place. Ask Colorado, the governor of Colorado. He doesn't know what to do about it. They're all over the place. We'll get them out. We'll get them out. They're, in a sense, they're in the real estate business. They go into a building and they take it, you know. See, when you buy a building, you have to go out and get a mortgage or use your own cash. They just go into a building and take it. And they actually said, well, it's not that bad. They haven't taken that many buildings. Can you imagine that? They haven't taken that many buildings. Oh, they're not that bad. But they're as bad as the bloodthirsty MS-13 gangs that we have gotten thousands and thousands of them out. In fact, over 11,000 murderers were released into our country by other countries all over the world because of Biden's open border policy. When I heard about that, I said, everybody's going to empty out their prisons into our country. I said that. I'd do that if I were heading up any one of the many countries that you know about, not just South America, all over. They take their prisons, their mental institutions, and they empty them out into our country. Can you imagine a person doing this? Can you imagine somebody doing that to our country? For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 was truly Liberation Day. That was really Liberation Day. This week, I also signed an order to end the weaponization of our government against American people and political people like me. We never had a thing like that. He went after his political opponent. Who would have thought he helped me? I think he helped me get elected, Joe. You want to know the truth? I became much more popular. I'm the only guy that ever became more popular when something like that happened. But these guys were just so inept. We had the guy deranged Jack Smith. Deranged. He was a deranged human being. But they thought this way Biden could sneak by and he could win an election, another cheating in another election. That's what it was. But we won. We won. You think that was fun? You think that was easy? It wasn't fun. And investigate all of the abuses of power. I pardoned hundreds of political prisoners who had been viciously persecuted by the Biden regime. Hundreds of people were persecuted, including Christians, pro-life activists, 2 Washington, D.C. police officers just yesterday, whose lives were destroyed from chasing down a dangerous illegal alien criminal. And, of course, I was very proud to pardon the J6 hostages. Once and for all, I stopped government censorship, and we brought back free speech in America. We brought it back. We did more of this last week. People can't even believe it. I also signed an order to declassify and publish all remaining files related to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, and Martin Luther King, Jr. I signed an order that will end all of the lawless diversity, equity, and inclusion nonsense all across the government and the private sector. We abolished 60 years of prejudice and hatred with the signing of one order, all approved by the United States Supreme Court. We're allowed to do it because we are now in a merit-based world. We're a merit-based country. Did you ever think you were going to hear that again? It's based on merit. If you've got the talent, if you've got the work, the ethic, the whole thing, it's based now on, it's not based on any other thing. It's based on merit. It's based on your capability. The United States has now become, again, a meritocracy. Isn't that a beautiful word? A meritocracy. Based on merit. If you do your job well, you're going to go places. And I made it the official policy of the United States government that there are only 2 genders, male and female. Male and female. Every single day of my term, we're living by the motto, promises made, promises kept. I kept my promises. It's why we won. It really is why we won. We won because of the past 4 years. We won because of that. But this is going to blow it away. Because when I came in, I had no experience. I didn't do this before. I never did this. I was never a politician before. I was talking J.D. Vance. By the way, hasn't he done a great job? Because J.D. went right to the Senate, and then he went to the vice president and said, J.D., you're really upwardly mobile. He said, you're more so than me. I said, why do you say that? He said, you went from being a real estate developer to the president. That's a pretty big, I never thought of it that way. I guess I'm the most upwardly mobile politician in history. I didn't make any stops along the way. It will be the greatest honor of my life to serve not once, but twice, or 3 times, or 4 times. Headlines from the fake news. Now it will be to serve twice. For the next 4 years, I will not rest. I will not yield. And together we will not fail. We will win, win, win. We will bring back the American dream. We're going to bring it back. You know, in recent years, our nation has suffered greatly, but we are going to make it great again, greater than ever before. We'll be a nation like no other, full of compassion, courage, and exceptionalism. That's what we're doing, and that's what it's all about. And you see that. I think you see it more in the last week than you've seen it in years. And I walked up the stairs of that massive plane that's waiting for me, that big 747, and I said, there's no way I'm going to let myself fall, because that was one hell of a... That triple fall was a disaster. I would call that a political disaster. You can fall once, you can fall twice, but you can't fall 3 times. You can't fall 3 times. What a disaster. I'd use that in every ad I think I ever did. Our power will stop all wars and bring new spirit of unity to a world that's been angry, violent, and very unpredictable. America will be respected again and admired again, including by the people of religion, faith, and goodwill. We're bringing back religion in this country. We will be prosperous. We will be free. We will be bigger, bolder, and more ambitious than ever before. And together we will make America powerful again. Make America wealthy again. Make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. Make America proud again. We're going to make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Nevada. Thank you, Joe. Thank you very much. We'll be back. We'll be back. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, there you have it. The legend, the OG. He said he was going to keep doing rallies after he won the election. And here he is in Las Vegas, Nevada. And he's fulfilling his promise. Told you. Promises made, promises kept. All right, moving forward. As you all know, he mentioned here, Pete Hegseth has been confirmed. So, here you go. We have the defense secretary. Check it out.
Begin with the breaking news on Capitol Hill tonight. A wild finish to a wild first week. Yeah, it's the first week of Donald Trump's second term. His pick for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth just got confirmed by the skin of his teeth.
This is how you know that this man is actually unstoppable. When you see CNN talking about he's first week, always first week. They know he has been working unstoppable. You can never deny the fact that this man is just unstoppable. He was indicted. His home was raided by FBI. He kept going from the courthouse to rallies, to town halls. And here we have it. He is the 47th. And in his first week, he has done more than Joe Biden has ever done. Some people would say in 50 years, but I'll just say in 4 years, okay?
Republicans had to pull in Vice President J.D. Vance for that tie-breaking vote. This after Senator Mitch McConnell stuck it to President Trump by voting
The Vice President votes in the affirmative, and the nomination is confirmed.
That vote was historic. It's just the second time in history that a vice president had needed to cast a 51-50 tie-breaking vote to confirm a cabinet nominee. Vance joking on X tonight saying, "I thought I was done voting in the Senate." Well, McConnell joined Senators Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski in giving the old thumbs down. He refused to reveal how he would vote until he reached the Senate floor. But now he is not holding back. In a searing statement released just a few moments ago, he wrote this: "The United States faces coordinated aggression from adversaries bent on shattering the order underpinning American security and prosperity." In public comments and testimony before the Armed Services Committee, Mr. Hegseth did not reckon with this reality. Now, Hegseth had faced serious questions over allegations of sexual assault, alcohol abuse, and also financial mismanagement of veterans' charities. He denies all of that happened. And the man he will soon report to is very pleased with tonight's outcome.
We just heard that we have a great Secretary of Defense. We're very happy about that, and we appreciate everybody's vote.
Are you disappointed that McConnell voted no?
I didn't even know that. No, I don't know that. I just heard that we won. Winning is what matters, right?
Yeah, that's
Talking more about this breaking news with Scott Jennings, CNN political commentator and former advisor to Senator Mitch McConnell, and Amisha Cross, also here, a Democratic strategist and former Obama campaign advisor. Good to see both of you. I'll begin with you, Mr. Kentucky, because Senator Mitch McConnell voted no and said in a statement that effective management of the military is a daily test with staggering consequences, and, quote, "Mr. Hegseth has failed as yet to demonstrate that he would pass this test." Pretty scathing assessment. What is the broader message he might be sending to President Trump tonight? Excuse me.
Well, look, I think he's saying that he just didn't think Pete Hegseth was qualified for the job. I mean, I read the entire statement, which also wrapped up by saying he looked forward to working with Pete Hegseth together to strengthen the United States military, take care of our troops, and fight our adversaries around the world. So I don't view this as a standoffish vote necessarily. He clearly is going to work with Pete Hegseth because he is the chairman of the Defense Appropriations Subcommittee, which means he'll be right in the middle of all the policy funding decisions that go into the Pentagon. And I also think it doesn't really portend anything else. I think he's likely to vote for virtually all the other nominees, maybe a couple of other exceptions, and he's already voted for several to date. So, you know, I think for McConnell here at the end of his career, I think he's hyper-focused on national security matters, and he had an opinion about this, and you know, he's like every other senator. He gets one vote. I happen to think Hegseth was an interesting choice, and thought he deserved a confirmation, which he ultimately did get thanks to the tiebreaker. So I wish him great success. I do agree with Mitch McConnell that this is a time of great consequence, and I also think that the Pentagon hasn't been all that well run for the last 4 years. We do need change.
You know, he did say on that very point that a change agent was not going to be enough to persuade him. He wanted something more substantive to sink into. But he also told our colleagues of telling our own Manu Raju that he is telling his colleagues that he is unshackled. And so this idea of him being towards the end of his Senate career, he seems to be all out of concern for how he might be viewed by, say, the President of the United States and trying to stick in the loyalty line. What might this mean for Tulsi Gabbard or RFK Jr. or Kash Patel? Or is this unique in your mind?
Well, I think anybody who's in the national security space is going to get real scrutiny from McConnell, and they should get scrutiny from all the senators. I still think, and I've said this for many weeks, I still think Tulsi Gabbard has work to do to get confirmed. RFK is interesting. I mean, both he and Gabbard are Democrats. I guess Gabbard switched parties, but they're, you know, career Democrats. And so they may get some Democrat votes, which, of course, could change the math on the Senate floor. But I still think Gabbard has some work to do to get confirmed. And obviously, she hasn't come up for any votes yet, but will in the near future. RFK is an interesting guy. I mean, he's a Kennedy, and he's a Democrat, and he's a pro-choice Democrat at that. So my assumption is he may have a fighting chance at getting Democrat votes, which would mitigate some of these Republican no votes.
We will see from the Hill, though, Amisha, to what this might mean at the Pentagon. I mean, Vice President J.D. Vance had to cast a tie-breaking vote for Hegseth. This was a razor-thin, obviously, margin. Could that possibly undermine his authority at the Pentagon, where his qualifications were already challenged during his confirmation hearings?
Absolutely. And I definitely think that it will, because I mean, we've already seen letters from veterans. We've already seen letters from service organizations that are oriented with several military servicemen across all of the armed services that were, quite frankly, very they found his nomination to be problematic. They found his history to not be one that would benefit this role. They also found that the command that he would be in charge of, quite frankly, one that he was not up to task for. And I think that those people are not going to be dissuaded by the fact that a tie-breaking vote happened today. What we do know about Pete Hegseth is that from a Republican Party that keeps talking about merit day in and day out, this is a guy who does not fulfill any of the tenets of this role or of those who have previously held this role in high esteem, specifically those who were Republican nominees. I think that there were better options available, but at this point, they have who they have. And he's going to have to live up to the muster. He's going to have to figure out how to manage a personnel the size that he is going to be tasked with. He is going to have to manage how to move different products from various places across the globe. He is going to have to manage to understand the backgrounds, the cultures, the specificities of the areas in which we are in conflict regions. Those are things that he has shown throughout those hearings that he, quite frankly, did not have any length of understanding of. So he's going to either have to learn it really quickly, or he's going to have to figure it out on the spot. Either way, that's who they choose.
Yeah. Amisha, I wonder if Democrats did an one second. I want you to respond, but I want to ask Amisha another question. Do you think the Democrats did an effective job of trying to bring that out? They focused a great deal on the misconduct allegations, alcohol abuse allegations. Given all that you said, why couldn't they make the case that they felt he was truly not fit for this role?
Well, I think Democrats had a missed opportunity in actually going after his lack of qualifications. Instead, they chose to go down the route of the allegations that came from ex-wives and his personal background in terms of infidelity. Those are things that might matter to a certain group, but at the end of the day, the things that should matter the most, quite frankly, are those that are the fitness for the job based on the fact that he does not meet basic qualifications. Those are very real things. But Democrats voted how Democrats should have voted in this instance. And I think that, laying this entire thing at the feet of Democrats is problematic because Republicans made this decision. They chose someone who is ill-suited for the role.
Scott?
Yeah, Amisha doesn't seem to be aware that Pete Hegseth served for 20 years in the United States military, Iraq, Afghanistan, 2 Bronze Stars, an Ivy League graduate. I mean, he has dedicated most of his life to serving the United States military. He is fully aware of where we are engaged around the world because he himself was there and earning. I
can't hear you. Hold on. Wait, I can't hear you both. Hold on. I want to go back to you, Amisha.
Yeah, I know. It's because she won't stop interrupting me.
Well, excuse me. I'll let you finish, please, Scott. Then I'll go back to Amisha. It's awfully hard when we're remote. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, good. So again, he has served overseas in hotspots where he was decorated for doing so. I think he's quite aware of what our servicemen and women are facing in hotspots around the world because he himself lived it. He's also quite aware of what they face when they get back home because he has also lived it. And the one thing he is not, and I will grant you this, he is not a D.C. insider. He is not a career bureaucrat. He is not the expected Washington choice. But Donald Trump was also not the expected or desired Washington choice. And I don't think he was elected to make all the desired Washington choices. I think he was elected because people want shakeup in Washington, D.C., particularly at the Pentagon, which has been, I think, tragically run for the last 4 years with embarrassment after embarrassment. So I say, let's give a guy who served this country, who has great credentials and great qualifications, a chance to succeed here. Let's give this man a chance to succeed. I hope he does. We should all hope he does. Our national security is on the line.
Amisha, I know we have very little time. Please respond.
I mean, isn't that common sense? You should support the person in charge of defense. Same thing with the commander-in-chief. I see some people saying in the chat, well, Trump is going to fail. Trump is going to fail. If he fails, he is the president of the United States. So you want the United States to fail?
Respond.
No, I agree with him. I do hope that the man succeeds. I think that at the end of the day, our national security is on the line, and we know that there are several unfortunate actors across the globe who want to test that day in and day out. With that being said, I still stand on this man is quite frankly not qualified. I have family members in my own family and in my own lineage who have served 2 decades plus in the United States Armed Forces. That does not mean that you should automatically be Secretary of Defense. This is a guy who became Secretary of Defense largely because Donald Trump liked his culture war narrative on Fox News every weekend. That is not a qualifier to lead the nation's strongest military.
We will see how it all.
Same thing they said about Trump. They said he wasn't qualified to be a good president. Look what happened. The first term, legendary. And then we brought Joe Biden in because people thought they needed a change because of what happened in 2020. Okay, yeah, goes the change. And everything went straight down. Inflation, everything. The price of food, gas, the border was a disaster. Okay, Ukraine, Russia, Israel, Palestinian people, everybody was just going bunkers in 4 years. That man said he set us back for what? Hopefully, Trump fixes all of this like ASAP. He's already done more though in 1 week, so let's see. He's back, yo.
Week one, with the swipe of a Sharpie, Donald Trump began putting his stamp on the federal government. So fast and furious, you might have actually missed some of what he did in the hurricane of activity. There were pardons, he renamed the Gulf of America, and yes, he did begin a large-scale immigration crackdown that includes deporting many immigrants and deploying American troops at the border. But while all of this grabbed attention and headlines, what you're not reading about is what Trump is doing for the economy, even implementing his beloved tariffs, which he promised to do many times.
I'm going to inform her on day one or sooner that if they don't stop this onslaught of criminals and drugs coming into our country, I'm going to immediately impose a 25% tariff on everything they send in to the United States of America.
Or doing anything to end the war in Ukraine, which he also promised to do.
That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together.
So despite all the flash this week, the question is whether the hard stuff can still get done, and that whether or not all of this is about a photo op. Joining us at the table is CNN economics commentator Catherine Rampell. She's a Washington Post opinion columnist. Catherine, I want to start on the economy because we know that is the most important thing to Americans. It's the source of their dissatisfaction with the Biden administration, and they believed Trump when he said he would fix it. I want to play for you what he said at Davos this week about how he would fix it.
I'm also going to ask Saudi Arabia and OPEC to bring down the cost of oil. You got to bring it down. If the price came down, the Russia-Ukraine war would end immediately. Right now, the price is high enough that that war will continue. You got to bring down the oil price. You got to end that war. They should have done it long ago. They're very responsible, actually, to a certain extent for what's taking place. Millions of lives are being lost. With oil prices going down, I'll demand that interest rates drop immediately, and likewise, they should be dropping all over the world.
So if you follow that, what he's saying is that he's going to get the Saudis to bring down the price of oil, and then he's going to use that to pressure the Federal Reserve to bring down interest rates, and that is going to be how prices are going to go down for Americans.
Look. Trump got elected with a mandate to bring prices down. As I have said many a time, presidents do not actually have the ability to, turn the dial up or down on prices. And in fact, Trump doesn't even have concepts of a plan for dealing with inflation. He signed an executive order that basically assigned his cabinet members to come up with concepts of a plan for dealing with inflation, for bringing down costs. There is a long history, of course, of presidents begging OPEC to pump more oil. And maybe it'll work this time. I don't know.
It could.
We'll see. But none of that is actually going to address the reason why inflation has been stubbornly high, including that grocery prices continue to be high. Egg prices are now at an all-time high. That's because of bird flu. That's not anything Trump did. But meanwhile, he's telling the CDC to stop issuing data and public communications about bird flu, which is probably not helping the situation. So to the extent that the American public voted for him to deal with prices, I have seen nothing in the agenda so far that would actually achieve that goal.
Keep in mind, everybody, keep in mind this man has only been president for what? 6 days, 1 week, right? Today is Sunday. He's been president for 5 working days. Okay? 5 working days, Monday to Friday, Saturday and Sunday. He's still working anyway because it was in Las Vegas, Nevada today. Oh, yesterday, Saturday. And these people are already crying. The border is already sealed. He declared a state of emergency. A state of emergency, the border, the southern border. You have troops at the border right now. ICE is already doing their work. So it's like, what are you talking about? He's talking to different leaders of the world. People are already investing billions of dollars into the United States. The Saudis, he wants to take he wants to turn up the dial to $1 trillion. And these people are crying. "Duh, duh, 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 duh." It's like, what are you doing? Can you just support the commander in chief?
Lower gas prices, lower costs. That's fuel costs impact everything up and down the supply chain. It's one of the key factors. When price of gasoline goes up, the price of every good goes up.
Gas has come down a lot in the
Sure,
past
and
year.
it will go down more if he has Saudi Arabia playing ball. And they showed last administration, Trump 1.0, that they were willing to play ball. They came to the table to negotiate with Israel over normalizing relations. They did lower gas prices and increase demand.
They also raised gas
pumping.
prices when he asked them to during COVID.
They are actually, just yesterday, they announced that they're going to invest $600 billion more in the United States.
That's about as much as they committed to buying weapons under Biden.
But wait a minute. We can't have it both ways here. We can't say that it's true that lower costs of fuel bring down prices and yet say, as he's hammering on drilling and getting the international markets to increase their supply, that he isn't talking about prices. He quite literally is in inflation.
Oil production in the United States is already at an all-time high. We are producing more crude oil in this country than any country has in history ever. The problem is not oil supply at this point. That's not the main issue that consumers are facing. The main issue is that there are other categories of goods and services that have very high prices that Trump has done nothing to do. And in fact, he actually undid a Biden-era executive order to try to cap out-of-pocket costs on prescription drugs, which is something that
healthcare, housing,
none of this is going to help any of that.
These are all things. I mean, look, just straight up from a numbers perspective.
Listen to these folks talk. This is just 7 days into this man's term. He has 4 years to work, okay? But he's shown Trump is so high level that you have to compare his 7 days to Biden's 4 years. She just said the $600 billion that the Saudis are investing into the United States, courtesy of the legend OG 45th, now the 47th Donald Trump. She's comparing it to Joe Biden's whole 4 years. This man has only been here for 7 days, and she's comparing these 7 days to Joe Biden's 4 years. I'm proud of Trump, and I'm proud to say I voted for Trump. This is what high level means. When you work nonstop, your enemies, they don't know what else to do. They just go helter-skelter.
The things that contribute the most to people's pocketbooks are going to be those big ticket items. And it is also true that Trump has said and done nothing to address those things.
He's been president for 4.5 days. He has also talked massively about cutting red tape and the regulatory thing that makes building impossible, to help the housing thing, finding more lands to develop on. He's talked about a bunch about how to grow supply base in this country across all sectors, get more people back to work. All those things go to inflation.
Get more people back to work. I'm glad you brought that up, because not only is he threatening to deport a large portion of people
who are here illegally,
he's also planning to de-document people. He is cutting off.
Oh God! I don't know why she keeps looking to the side. Is it like on cue? Oh, okay, yeah. Am I making a point that is gonna like catch a headline.
Things
What?
go
Meanwhile,
to
he's
inflation.
get more people back to work. I'm glad you brought that up because not only is he threatening to deport a large portion of people
who are here illegally.
He's also planning to de-document people. He is cutting off legal pathways to come here. In fact, a few minutes ago, the New York Times just reported.
I mean, who would trust the New York Times like that? But okay, moving forward. The CBP1 app, that's what she's talking about, I guess. He shut it down. Like he promised he was going to shut it down. So there's nothing new. Everything he's doing, he campaigned on those things. He said he was going to do it, and now he's done it. And the 77 million point 3 people who voted for him, they're happy. Matter of fact, a lot more people are happy because they're beginning to have safer communities. If you check, New York just reported that they've never been this safe for the past 5 days. Go look it up. Okay, we could put up the link up here. We could check it out up here. New York reported that for the past 5 days, for the last 5 days, New York has been safe. More than they've been in 4 years. Go look it up.
That he is ending the parole program that allowed Ukrainians to come in here and potentially causing all of those people to lose their work authorization.
And the majority of Americans, as Harry Enton reported on this network over the past couple of days, not only support deporting illegal immigrants.
These are legal immigrants.
Why don't you let me finish talking?
Exactly. Let her talk, yo. You had your time. You had your time. Let her talk.
Come in here and potentially causing all of those people to lose their work authorization.
And the majority of Americans, as Harry Enton reported on this network over the past couple of days, not only support deporting illegal immigrants.
These are legal immigrants.
Why don't you let me finish talking, Catherine?
Because you interrupted me, and
I'm going to finish what I have to say. Not only do they support deporting illegal immigrants, people who have committed crimes, but they also support less immigration as a whole, which was something surprising to many people as that poll came out. In the past 4 days, President Trump has done. This is not a bait and switch. This is the reality. You just don't want to hear it.
No.
In the past 4 days, President Trump has done more than Biden did in 4 years. That's the reality. He continues to keep promises that he made to the American people. When you talk about oil and gas, he cut burdensome.
Oh, this is what I like. This right here is spicy. When you've done so good for the past 4 years, well, for the past, I mean, look, I'm equating Trump's 5 days to 4 years because he's so great. He's been working nonstop. So we're going to go back and listen to this because this is way too sweet. Yo. This is what happens when Trump becomes the president of the United States.
He's also planning to de-document people. He is cutting off legal pathways to come here. In fact, a few minutes ago, the New York Times just reported that he is ending the parole program that allowed Ukrainians to come in here and potentially causing all of those people to lose their work authorization.
And the majority of Americans, as Harry Enton reported on this network over the past couple of days, not only support deporting illegal immigrants.
These are legal immigrants.
Why don't you let me finish talking, Catherine?
Because you interrupted me, and
I'm going to finish what I have to say. Not only do they support deporting illegal immigrants, people who have committed crimes, but they also support less immigration as a whole, which was something surprising to many people as that poll came out. In the past 4 days, President Trump has done. This is not a bait and switch. This is the reality. You just don't want to hear it. No. In the past 4 days, President Trump has done more than Biden did in 4 years. That's the reality. He continues.
Exactly. That is the reality. Okay. The legend, the OG, the 45th, now the 47th, has done more than Biden has done for the past 4 years. Easy, straight to the point. He's been working nonstop. He visited North Carolina. He's visited California. What? He's only been here for 5 working days. There is no way that Biden would have done this. Biden was walking into the Amazon rainforest to talk to the jaguars. He was sleeping in Angola, falling off airplane stairs. couldn't find his way off stage. I mean, what do you expect? Some people even say Trump has done more than Joe Biden for the past 50 years. I think I would support that. Yeah, I would support that. Let's listen.
To keep promises that he made to the American people. When you talk about oil and gas, he cut burdensome regulations.
Hold on one
just
second.
in those first couple days. In the long term, will help on the gas prices.
Madison is pointing.
Exactly. Okay. It's over. Now you have a competent person in the White House. Deal with it, okay? Deal with it.
Out that on the immigration issue, Trump ran on the most extreme of plans, right? And the American people knew that. They voted for him, yes. However, he also did, the economy was essential, maybe the central issue in this country. And again, he's done a lot of things this week. You mentioned a bunch of things that he's promised to do, but has not actually done. Yeah. But one of the other things, I mean, this conversation just reminds me that this is a flood the zone moment for the country, okay? And here's what James Carville had to say about how Democrats ought to be handling it and are handling it.
Because usually people put something out and it would be the story of the day, and then you could follow that and they'd defend the story and people would attack it and you'd go ahead. Now he has 10 things out there. Of all of the things that you mentioned, what should the Democrats focus on? What they will end up doing is what they always do. They will focus on all 10. And they will do no good. Steve Bannon, I think the guy was right. He said, we're just going to flood the zone with shit. And we're now flooded with shit. And we just don't have a response. We just don't.
Have Democrats basically failed the test here? I mean, Trump was
They
basically
have.
trying to give them so much
they
stuff
have.
to deal with that they can't hold any of it in their hands at the same time.
God for me be the one to defend Democrats when I was going to lead this segment and you stole my thing on the Fast and Furious meets Dumb and Dumber. And I think that what we've seen is a whole bunch of stuff that is crazy. And look, at the end of the day, to your point, TW, if he did half the, almost said a bad word, if he did half the stuff that he said he was going to do, I'd be all in. And I don't wish him any ill will. I just think that I've done this long enough, and I grew up on a farm in East Texas enough to just know what I see when I see it. And he says what people want to hear. And when it comes down to doing it, there wasn't a bunch of workers behind him at the inauguration. They were the richest 5 people in America for a reason. And that's because he's going to take care of those folks. And maybe he takes care of some working folks well. I hope that he does. But when he don't, this is when these chickens are going to come home to roost, because there's a midterm election in less than 2 years, and we will see.
But Chuck,
He's also doing a lot of stuff
go ahead,
just
Abby.
for show, okay? Let's be honest.
Right, it's red meat.
The flights, the deportation flights, big tweet from the press secretary today saying they're starting again. They didn't really ever stop, except that now they're happening with military flights, which, according to DOD, costs, by my count, I'm not good at math, 3 times at least as much as a private charter flight, which is what the government usually
especially if they
spends.
can't land.
Those C-130E, I mean, those numbers are astronomical.
If I could give the Democrats some advice right now, it would be weird advice. I would actually tell them to do less. The Democrats have so many problems in their own house. There's such a crisis of leadership there, messaging there. Deal with that. Do less. I personally believe that a lot of the Trump agenda is going to be catastrophic for America. I think you're going to see prices raised when you look at farms all over the country with not having workers. These farmers, some of them Trump supporters have already said this. I think you're going to see people actually be uncomfortable with some of the images that they see coming out of these ICE raids. I think you're also going to see Americans not just inconvenienced in these ICE raids, but also potentially harmed, detained, hurt. So I think a lot of this stuff is going to backfire. And if it's me and I'm advising them, play it a little slower.
Yeah, I think we saw him on the campaign trail repeatedly make promises about here's what I'm going to do immediately when I get into office when it comes to the border, when it comes to immigration. A lot of what Biden did getting in is what caused us to see those numbers go up so much. What did Trump do as of the past 4 days? He declared a national border emergency. He ended birthright citizenship. He ended catch and release. He reinstated remain in Mexico. Mexico. He
Facts.
designated cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. The list goes on and on and on, but we're seeing those numbers come down already. We'll continue to see them come down. And what did the Biden administration and Democrats do when supposedly Democrats on this network arguing, hey, we had the list of these people before. Why were they not gone before Trump took office Monday? These are criminals, a lot of them in gangs. And
Don't look at her, bro. Don't look at her, bro. Don't look at her, bro. She can't save you, bro. The guy with the hat is looking like, yeah, she can't save you, bro. She's speaking fact. The lady on the left, she's speaking facts, yo.
Birthright citizenship. He ended catch and release. He reinstated remain in Mexico. He designated cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. The list goes on and on and on, but we're seeing those numbers come down already. We'll continue to see them come down. And what did the Biden administration and Democrats do when supposedly Democrats on this network arguing, hey, we had the list of these people before. Why were they not gone before Trump took office Monday? These are criminals, a lot of them in gangs, and they do not belong in this country.
Because Venezuela won't take them back.
Well, we'll see the Supreme Court will ask the question about that, but it is a promise he made that in Mexico.
I just want to ask you one quick thing because we got to go. Are you okay with the White House using the most expensive means to deport immigrants just for a photo?
All right, here we go.
I want them out of the country. I want to see our communities safer. I've talked to people who have been impacted by this, who have been victims of violent crimes at the hands of illegal immigrants. We have a crime problem in this country as it is. We've talked about it on the show. And the last thing we need is people who aren't even legally supposed to be here adding to that problem.
But they can't even
that is an
land the
answer.
military. NBC report.
How is that not an answer? How is that not an answer, yo? Oh my God. She cooked all of them. She cooked them fast.
Repeatedly make promises about here's what I'm going to do immediately when I get into office when it comes to the border, when it comes to immigration. A lot of what Biden did getting in is what caused.
She cooked them. Yeah, we got to see that again one more time. She cooked all of them. Weak. Yo, this lady right here, she cooked every single person on here.
It's me, and I'm advising them, play it a little slower.
Yeah, I think we saw him on the campaign trail repeatedly make promises about here's what I'm going to do immediately when I get into office when it comes to the border, when it comes to immigration. A lot of what Biden did getting in is what caused us to see those numbers go up so much. What did Trump do as of the past 4 days? He declared a national border emergency. He ended birthright citizenship. He ended catch and release. He reinstated remain in Mexico. He designated cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. The list goes on and on and on, but we're seeing those numbers come down already. We'll continue to see them come down. And what did the Biden administration and Democrats do when supposedly Democrats on this network arguing, hey, we had the list of these people before. Why were they not gone before Trump took office Monday? These are criminals, a lot of them in.
It's so fun. Look, it's so funny. The guy with the hat is looking to the right, like, save me. No, nobody can save you, bro. She's cooking, and you are being cooked. So you better enjoy the soup.
And they do not belong in this country.
Because Venezuela won't take them back.
Well, we'll see the Supreme Court will ask the question about that, but it is a promise he made that in Mexico.
I just want to ask you one quick thing because we got to go. Are you okay with the White House using the most expensive means to deport immigrants just for a photo op?
I want them out of the country. I want to see our.
It's not a photo op. Go tell Laken Riley's family that it's a photo op, okay? Go talk to Laken Riley's family and tell them, well, it's a photo op. Nah, it's not a photo op, okay? It's real life, and it's affecting real people, okay? It is. Illegal migration is a crime.
Our community safer. I've talked to people who have been impacted by this, who have been victims of violent crimes at the hands of illegal immigrants. We have a crime problem in this country as it is. We've talked about it on the show. And the last thing we need is people who aren't even legally supposed to be here adding to that problem.
But they can't even land the military. NBC reported earlier today that Mexico turned away the military jet that was carrying the deportees because it was an insult to Mexico.
Well, President Scheinbaum, she's gonna find out. You're gonna F around and find out. Not taking the flight. Yeah, President Scheinbaum gonna find out. But you know how all of this world leaders act. They act like they got some supreme power until they bend down and kiss the ring. She about to kiss the ring in 2 seconds. I promise you that.
Elsewhere, but they're not going to stay here.
All right, guys.
They're Mexican nationals,
But they're not Americans, and that's not where they're going to be.
She just said they're Mexican nationals. They're not American, yo. Like, these people would support anybody else but Americans. They would support anybody but not Americans. The Mexican nationals. Mexicans.
Supposed to be here, adding to that problem.
But they can't even man. They can't even
that is an
land the
answer.
military. NBC reported earlier today that Mexico turned away the military jet that was carrying the deportees because it was an insult to Mexico.
Then
to have
they'll go
military
elsewhere, but they're not going to stay here.
All right, guys.
They're Mexican nationals,
But they're not Americans, and that's not where they're going to be.
And she said that with a smiley face. She said that with a smiley face. You can never make this up, yo. All right, Proud Boys.
I want to begin with where people have seen you most recently. In your latest statement today, you talked about what happened. You don't like what happened, especially to police officers, but you called the prosecution for yourself and so many others a miscarriage. Do you see what you have done as anything wrong?
I don't see it as what I've done anything wrong. I was improperly indicted. I do see it as a miscarriage of justice. And I think, like I said before, I can't condone like assaults on a police officer, but I think President Trump said it right. He was going to go case by case, and he did. And it wasn't the actions that he pardoned; it was a miscarriage of justice that he pardoned. Why he pardoned. And
isn't that one and the same in the end, though?
No, it's not, because the process has to be fair, right? If the process isn't fair, then the process is corrupt. If the process is corrupt, therefore the only solution to this is a pardon.
What part of the process do you feel was unfair to you?
I think starting the biggest one, because I don't think we have enough time in this show for me to talk about all those things, but I think the biggest problem that we had is the jury pool. It wasn't fair not only to the J6ers, but it's also unfair to those jurors to be seated. An example in my case, the judge asked, it was a simple question. How do you feel about the Proud Boys and Enrique Tarrio? And they said a whole array of things. They said white supremacists, Nazis, all sorts of things.
But Enrique, assuming it is as it's supposed to be when you have a jury, when you have the voir dire process, and they are instructed to follow the evidence. Part of the evidence that was presented included text messages from you, correspondence as well. Do you think that those same pieces of evidence where you seem to condone and encourage, do you think, and by the way, part of those messages include saying things like, you're proud of my boys and my country, don't effing leave, make no mistake, we did this. How would that have been different in any other part of the country or a juror?
Those statements were made publicly on my public parlor. They weren't made privately, and they were made after the fact. Did I celebrate the situation that was happening at the Capitol as I saw it at that very moment when I posted it? Absolutely. I think a lot of America celebrated what happened at the Capitol. Whether they like it, whether some people like those statements or not, I mean, that's just reality and it's a fact.
A lot of people condemned it as well.
I wholeheartedly agree, and they have the rights to their opinion, and I'll defend their rights to say that, just as I defend the rights of anybody's opinion on what happened on January 6th. And I don't think it was a revision of history. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I want you to finish your point, but I just remember your sentencing. You called it a national embarrassment. You spoke about how you felt about, you apologized to police officers and lawmakers who fled in fear that day. One of the things you said was, I am extremely ashamed and disappointed that they were caused grief and suffering, and I will have to live with that shame and disappointment for the rest of my life. I thought of myself morally above others, and this trial has humbled me and showed me how wrong I truly was to believe that. So sitting here today, do you no longer believe those statements?
I want to be clear. When I say I am sorry or I apologize for those to those officers that were assaulted and those members of Congress that were scared, I want to be clear. I said I'm sorry for it, but then I said, it wasn't because of me. It wasn't because of my actions that occurred. It's just me being sorry for what happened that day. And, I truly was. So I do stand by those statements.
I am curious why you celebrated the actions that day. What did you believe was happening? And did you believe that members of your organization were involved in the violence?
As of right now that I can think of, no Proud Boys were convicted of direct assault on a police officer. They walked in and they walked out.
Well, you say they walked in and walked out. Dominic Pizzola, who's a member of your group, as I understand it, smashed open a window. He allowed rioters to enter the Capitol, quote, robbed a Capitol police officer of his riot shield. That's not just walking in and out. And the reason I understand that you were saying that you were innocent of the charges that you were indicted of, it's being very dismissive of what has been alleged and what we've seen, don't you think?
Well, here's another thing in my case with Dominic Pizzola, and Dominic Pizzola could probably talk to you about his actions that day, but they superseded the indictment and they brought Dominic Pizzola in because they didn't have enough on Ethan Nordine, myself, Joe Biggs, and Zachary Real. He was actually what the DOJ did with him is they paraded him from different indictments as time progressed in order to muddy the waters for the situation of other defendants also.
But he was violent that day, whether he was part of a superseding indictment. I wonder, you have been known as the leader of the Proud Boys. I know in recent statements you have said that the media should no longer refer to you as the ex-leader and that you're not providing, as of 4 years ago, information on the structure of the Proud Boys. But assuming you are viewed as the leader of the Proud Boys, do you take any responsibility for how members of the organization conducted themselves?
I can't take responsibility for something that I didn't do.
So you take issue with the prosecutors even presenting evidence that you encouraged those members, that you weren't hands off?
I didn't really know what was going on, but I did see, and to me, what I really thought was, some Trump supporters took a Capitol tour and went wild. I didn't know that somebody had broken into the building.
You really didn't think that it happened, Enrique? I mean, it strains credulity for me. I mean, given that you had this, I think it was called the Ministry of Self-Defense, people looked at you and the trial proceeded. And again, I understand that you have been pardoned and the case has been prosecuted and has been convicted. But I want to stay on this point. You really didn't know that there was an extent of the violence that took place as you were celebrating or watching it? You had no part in the plan.
At the very moment, the scenes that you're showing right now, at that very moment, that's not what I tuned into.
But at the very least, you knew it wasn't a tour of some Trump supporters in the Capitol, right? We can be honest about that.
I would wholeheartedly agree that it definitely wasn't a tour.
I was really curious, Enrique, when I heard you talk about, after getting out of prison, that you wanted retribution. Against who? How would you get it?
So let's talk about what retribution is, because I did, in most interviews, I did clear up what I meant by retribution. I meant investigations. So they need to be investigated. And if they did everything correct and they did everything by the book, there shouldn't be anything for them to worry about.
Who's the they?
There shouldn't be.
What is she saying? Who is the they? Pretty obvious.
And then here, I want to be unequivocally clear that by no means am I asking for violent retribution to anybody. I don't condone any violence towards.
No violence, okay? We do not condone violence. I do not condone violence. I don't, you know, advise anybody to go do violent actions, okay? Don't be out there committing crimes and saying, I support Trump. Nah, don't be committing crimes, okay? Relax, all right? Exercise your right. Don't be committing crimes, okay? He's pretty articulate.
Any elected official. Actually, I don't condone violence to any human being, but I do think that that it needs to be the process needs to be investigated.
And so, who would you be investigating? The prosecutors, the attorney general? What does that look like?
I mean, I'm not in the legal field, but I think we should start from the top to the bottom. I think we should start with Merrick Garland, move our way down to Matthew Graves, and specifically in most of these J6 cases, some of the lead prosecutors in this case.
Do you believe that, given the platform that you have, Enrique, and frankly, the clout you have for those who follow you, that you have invited an investigation that may not be above board or that might result in people who are not officially in the law enforcement community or investigative capacity, that they might take it upon themselves to kind of have a vigilante approach, even if nonviolent?
I don't think that anybody should be vigilantes and do it themselves, but to talk about the investigations themselves, it speaks to a broader issue, the broader issue of how many laws we have in this country. So the criminal justice reform is something big, and it's something that needs to be talked about more.
Would you be willing to, or are you seeking an invitation from the White House to discuss those very ideas that you have about reform? Have you been invited or had any correspondence with President Trump or any member of his administration about that?
I wish I had Trump on speed dial, but unfortunately I don't. But no, I have not been contacted by the administration, but I would love a chance to speak with the president about criminal justice reform.
We'll see if he does invite that conversation.
Trump is most likely going to talk to one of these boys. I don't know, but he is most likely going to do it.
Kara, you know these men
very well,
and their egos very, very well. How do you think this is going to end?
Probably badly, and yet not. They'll do, they recognize how inexpensive it is to buy their way into politics. And as politics started to encroach on them with regulation, of which there are none, they decided to employ their money and their means. And their first person really was Peter Thiel, who went out and spent very little money to get J.D. Vance into the Senate, I think $25 million, something like that. Very inexpensive for these people. And so once they realized that, they're going to do it, and they had to figure out which of the presidential candidates would allow that to happen. Now, Democrats were tight with tech people for a long time, but it wasn't this. It wasn't this expectation, maybe get on a defense council or, this and that, but not, or an invitation to the White House, but not this proximity. So it will end, I think, badly in some ways for Trump because he cannot control them, and they cannot be controlled.
I mean, Bill, you've worked in a White House before. What would your life be like if Elon Musk were sitting in like the outer Oval and just was doing whatever he wanted?
There's no outer.
He had a corner in the Oval where he could just.
I'm not cool enough to spend time in Silicon Valley like you are, but I imagine it's very much like a campaign feel. Right, of rolling, freewheeling.
I was going to say nursery school, but okay.
A lot of like stand-up desks, right? Pizza at midnight in headquarters. A White House is very different, right? It's very structured. For it to succeed, you need unity and discipline. Not everyone, actually few people from a campaign can actually make the transition to a White House. This is a very structured, rigid environment. It's the most formal workplace I think that's ever existed. I could see why someone from a campaign or Silicon Valley would have a hard time with that transition. I think we're seeing that here.
He wasn't in the room for that announcement, and they kept him out on purpose. The companies did not want him there, wandering around.
And we know Elon would not have behaved himself. I mean, what do you make of this? I mean, as you called yourself a movement conservative, I mean, Conservatives have always been friendly with business, but I wonder this idea of whole industries just kind of buying their way into the good graces of government.
Well, I'm
How
calling
does that land with you?
I'm calling this particular one the plutocracy because that's what this is. This is power and money and tech all wrapped into one. And I'm very concerned about the cronyism and the conflicts of interest because the relationship between government and technology is so important right now as we are in this sort of nascent period of AI evolution and everything that that's going to bring, good and bad. This could go very well for America and civilization, or it could go very badly. And I'm worried that these relationships and the money and the politics is going to pollute science and vice versa, the other way around. That tech is going to pollute politics if it isn't polluted enough already. Yeah. But this is a very important time for tech.
I mean, tech is like any other. I mean, I think we still talk about tech as if it's this little baby.
Oh, it is not.
Right. Oh, wait, no, it's actually the most powerful industry now, second maybe to oil and gas in the whole world.
First. Right. So the top 10 valued companies are tech companies.
They are not a little baby that needs to be coddled. And so this idea that you can't engage with them like you engage with any other industry, which is to say there's oversight, there is regulation, there are guardrails against them taking over the whole thing.
The fact that he, co-president Musk is in the Oval Office and in the West Wing and has that protection of the executive privilege of us not having the clarity of transparency that will happen, and that cronyism that she was speaking of is going to go to a level that we've never seen before. And I think when it falls apart, ultimately, it's going to be where the money is.
One of the things that's, to be clear, is I think Steve Bannon is right. I can't believe those words are coming out of my mouth, but I think he is. They don't care about anything. They don't have values. They don't have conservative values. What I was joking the other day, if Kamala Harris had won, Mark Zuckerberg would be asking us to call him they, them. I'm telling you, they just would. They have no values. Below, there's a lot of Democrats in tech, but the top ones have no libertarian light, would be what I might describe them as.
I think we have to go easy on the outrage that we hear, right? Literally from the beginning of tech, they were with the Democrats. Clinton in 2016 got 97% of donations from Silicon Valley. Biden got even more than Clinton got. So, I mean, to me, a part of me wonders, what took so long? Think about it. These are outside establishment types. They're innovators. They're bros who wear the annoying vest to work every day.
I think the below people were, but the higher ones would play both sides all the time.
Ooh. This next 4 years is about to be spicy. I'm telling you.
Is it now uncool to be a Democrat? Meghan McCain thinks so after she says that she's been socially ostracized for being a Republican her entire life. An op-ed takes it a step further, arguing that the right is winning hearts and minds. A major reason? Because MAGA has recognized the crucial importance of new technologies in shaping politics and culture. It's an interesting argument. Actually, can I just say for the record, the conservatives are at the table are the ones that are most skeptical about this. Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah. Democrats are still cooler.
Dress
better, have better hair, go to cooler parties. Still cooler.
I don't think the cool is the thing. And, Megan's my very best friend. So full disclosure, I get her point because we've talked about this. But it's not an issue of cool. I think that Biden, what Democrats needed after Trump was a Reagan, a character and a personality who was not only going to transform the Democratic Party, but America and the world for generations to come. Instead, they got a Carter in Biden, someone who inspired nobody, who in fact repelled longtime Democrats who said,
Okay, so now they all agree on the fact that Biden inspired nobody. Biden may have just drowned the entire Democrat Party. And she's confirming it.
Enough. We have lost the way, we have lost our point. And now they risk another 12 years of Republicans in charge. Democrats need a renaissance, and to do that, they'll need some introspection and to take some responsibility from some of their policy waywardness. But they need to find their Reagan and become inspiring again
They had their Reagan.
to a generation.
They had their Reagan. They had Barack Obama. The ultimate cool, right? The ultimate.
I'm not talking about cool, though.
Okay.
I'm talking about someone who can inspire a generation to come to the party.
Who leads the cultural, but there is a cultural vanguard to doing that,
But
right?
there was an expiration date on that, I think, is part of the issue.
Correct.
And Trump.
So now, nobody cares. Obama can get it at this point. Like, nobody cares. Obama campaigned for Kamala Harris. Nobody cared, okay? Because people are tired. People are ready to move on. And it's like, you're not going to keep coming here and talking about, woe is me. You're not going to keep coming here and talk about victimization. Oh, we're victims, as if we're still in 1940s, 1950s. No, this is 2025. Okay? Even Obama could not help Kamala Harris win. Beyonce, Oprah Winfrey, Megan Thee Stallion, Taylor Swift, Eminem. Oh my goodness. Eminem could not help Kamala Harris win. Okay? Usher, Tyler Perry. The biggest names in Hollywood. None of them could help Kamala Harris win. So it's over.
Threatens, I think this is the question, he threatens to eclipse it. I mean, this is the Wall Street Journal on Sunday, how MAGA is taking back the culture. This is a quote from a student at ASU, Arizona State. Every time I walk on campus, I see a few MAGA hats. That's definitely new. He said, it's really become intertwined in our pop culture. It's really showing that conservatism is cool now. This is a 19-year-old.
I think Republicans are less afraid.
That's right.
Right? Stallone, Gibson, John Voight, shout out Varsity Blues, like them coming out as official or unofficial ambassadors to Hollywood, like that didn't happen 10 years ago.
They didn't come out. He appointed them, they didn't even know.
And I think it's a very good
Let me
thing.
take it to the person from Hollywood. I feel like, I actually don't think that that's like a sign that they're cool, because those guys have been, first of all, they're in another generation.
Less afraid. That's
and
all it
they've
is.
been in Trump's camp.
Striking a blow against ageism, but go ahead.
I think we have revisionist history, because there's a point in this campaign when the Democrats raised $1 billion, where Kamala
That was like
Harris,
3 months ago.
right? Where people were going across with in the middle of the campaign, where we felt in 100 days no other campaign could have done what we did, and the Republicans were feeling that as well. We lost the campaign. We should not feel as though we've lost our principles and our way. Of course, when someone wins, there's going to be sort of popular movement and everybody's going to be attached to it. And then ultimately, they're going to realize what they have, what has happened. Now, we have a responsibility as Democrats to tap into that coolness again and remember that. But
Coolness doesn't pay the bills, though. People want their bills paid.
That's
absolutely,
maybe that is the lesson.
and we'll be asking that question after all those tariffs are put on.
Oh, God. It's so cool to listen to this right here, bro. I feel good. I voted for Trump. Yeah, I voted for Trump. I straight up voted for Trump.
Officially established earlier this week after a first day.
Government. My administration will establish the brand new Department of Government Efficiency.
President Donald Trump's new Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE for short, officially established earlier this week after a first-day executive order. The new entity, which plans to try to slash billions.
Now, we're seeing this. Okay. Let's come to a more recent conversation right here. Who pays the tariff? What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? Who pays the tariff? Go back to the 1800s, okay? Go back to the early 1900s. Tariffs were the reasons the United States became a powerhouse, okay? Go do your due diligence, all right? tariffs has been used for ages by the United States to become wealthy. Okay, there was no income tax when tariffs were being used. All right, so go check it out. I'm not trying to be your teacher. Okay, just go do your own research. There was no income tax because we had legendary tariffs. Okay, tariff is gonna make everything expensive. No, tariff is gonna make the United States wealthy again. I love this.
Los Angeles yesterday before arriving in Vegas to tour the devastation left by the wildfires in California. And Governor Gavin Newsom showed up to the tarmac uninvited. After that, the president put Democrats on blast for far-left policies that are stopping fire victims from rebuilding their homes and their lives.
You have emergency powers just like I do.
Yes.
You can do everything within 24 hours.
Yes. And if individuals want to clear out their property, they can.
Everyone's standing in front of their house. They want to go to work, and they're not allowed to do it.
And the most important
week
thing
is
is
a
for
long
people
time.
to be safe.
They're not safe.
And without your help, they're only going to get $43,000 from the federal government.
Trump. Oh God, Trump is the ultimate, bro. He is the ultimate. Like last summer, we made a live stream, and I said Trump is the ultimate warrior, and we had Wolverine and Trump. He is the ultimate warrior. He destroyed. Matter of fact, Karen Bass didn't know what was coming for her. He's just saying the fact, and everything just seems to align every single time. Everything Trump has said for years is coming true. So it's like the people are just so tired of Trump being right every single time. So it's like, you know what? Whatever he says, I'll go along with it because F this.
And if individuals want to clear out their property, they can.
Everyone's standing in front of their house. They want to go to work, and they're not allowed to do it.
And the most important
week
thing
is
is
a
for
long
people
time.
to be safe.
They're not safe.
And without your help, they're only going to get $43,000 from the federal government, even if they have a half
Well,
million dollar
you did
uninsured
something,
loss.
Brad, where every insurance company in the country left California. That's why you have no insurance, because you made it so impossible. I'll tell you this.
About my thinking.
I've never seen a state where almost nobody has insurance.
We had a lot of insurance companies pull out, but I have no
and
idea.
the insurance companies actually have been warning you.
I loved the transparency of all of that.
Yeah.
This isn't the only disaster Trump says was mishandled. He thinks FEMA botched the North Carolina hurricane recovery so badly that he wants to get rid of them.
We'll begin the work of fundamentally changing, terminating, or overhauling FEMA. FEMA's been a disaster.
Do you know, I thought one of the most remarkable things we saw were both of these events.
Mm-hmm.
He turned it over to the victims of the, hurricane and also the wildfires.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever seen a politician do that before.
Yeah, because you don't know what they're going to say, and they may be able to bash you. But in this case, he's been in office for a few days. So, yeah, the Democrats failed on this. They failed their people. Policy that conservatives told them not to pass, they continue to do so. And when you get liberals that have these wish lists, things that seems like good ideas, it just doesn't work. And now people are facing the consequences of the policies that the people they voted for, honestly.
Well, and Brian, Congress is going to be dealing with this too when they look at some of the disaster relief. Really, do you think with California there should be some conditions involved to get forest management under control, the water mismanagement that they've had as well?
Yep. Everything in life has conditions. Everything in life should have conditions. And when you're talking about taxpayers around the country helping out California, and taxpayers have shown throughout time they're very happy to do that. But they want to really help California, and giving them money and saying, do the same things you've been doing, that is a disaster. It's setting up the next disaster. So, yes, there should be conditions not tied to other policies, just tied to forest management or water management or cleaning up brush, the direct things that can actually help California.
Yeah. And let's throw up this cover from today's New York Post. It says right here, California scheming. Molly, another thing I loved seeing was just watching him put the Democrat politicians on blast
Yeah.
for failing their citizens right in front of everyone, right in front of the cameras. It was glorious.
Yeah, and he's so comfortable with that confrontational style, just right there on the spot, have your answers ready, going after insurance companies, saying these people want answers and they want to get back to their homes, clean things up. Why can't they make it faster? Explain it to me. Why can't we get this done? But it's really interesting. I think you're right about the transparency. It makes it very interesting. When it comes to money, this from the governor's office, we welcome President Trump to California with an open hand. They know they need the money. And when we talk about conditions, one of the things that's been reported on and been addressed to President Trump himself have been concerns that the conditions won't be related to the fire.
Right.
And he's addressed that to some extent, but that'll be interesting to see how that plays out as well.
And a super quick point, Donald Trump is coming off as the man of the people. No matter where you sit, who you voted for, what your income bracket is, this is someone who's coming to defend us. And people have been screaming for that. So we have a president that's a full-time president, not someone who's sleeping at 1 p.m.
Well, yeah, I just loved seeing him fact check Karen Bass in real time, being like, nope, you're wrong. That's not it. That's not it, Mayor. It was beautiful.
Trump is so legendary, yo. He is so legendary. He makes sure he communicates his ideas and he implements what he wants because he knows. Like he always says, follow your instinct. This is why I say Trump is so inspiring. And people are like, well, what is so inspiring about him? He is super inspiring. How is that not inspiring when you have your commander-in-chief who actually works for the people? He goes out there and he works his butt off for the American people. How is that not inspiring? Like, can you tell me how that is not inspiring? Because I like to know. Like, I really like to know. Thank you for tuning in to the live show. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. Double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. You know what time it is. Also, we have memberships on here, and it is $4.99. Join the memberships of this channel. Turn on your notification bell so when we go live or when we upload videos, you can be the first to see it. Okay? Thank you so much, and thank you for supporting the channel. Let's keep going.
President Trump cracking down on windmills. The president now pausing a new federal wind energy projects while debunking the left's claim that wind energy is better for the environment.
It's cooking, y'all. Yeah, it's cooking.
Natural gas is clean and it's powerful. You need power. And it's consistent, not like wind. The wind blows and then it doesn't blow and the things cost a fortune. They're made in China and they kill the birds and they're horrible. We're putting an order out. I've already sort of done it. We don't want windmills. If you have a house and you're in vision of a windmill, your house is worth half. It's a disaster and nobody wants them.
Here to weigh in is Mark Morano, publisher of ClimateDepot.com. Mark, we've been doing this story for a long time. You know I hate windmills. They're bird murders. They're whale murders. I think Donald Trump is like the whale whisperer, right? I mean, he's saving the whales. Who would have thunk?
Yeah, who would have thought that the environmental groups from the Sierra Club, Audubon Society, Greenpeace are silent on whale mortalities and on the bird mortalities? Donald Trump is turning out to be the greatest environmental hero of the 21st century. And I don't mean, I'm talking about endangered species in terms of especially offshore wind and whales, but I'm also talking about even for those worried about climate, he's a climate champion because if he's reducing by bringing in more fossil fuels from the Western world, we have the highest environmental standards, highest technological, and the cleanest way to make it. We're relying less on China, the Middle East, Venezuela, Russia. This is how it's done. The climate activists should be embracing them. And you have to ask, where are the Volvo driving 1970s save the whale liberals? Well, they're now in the form of the Orange Man, the formerly artist known as the formerly bad Orange Man, Donald Trump, who is now their champion. It is amazing. He is gutting the funding. There is no there. Globally, wind and solar combined are less than 14% of electricity, despite trillions in subsidies and mandates. It's not happening. Donald Trump is just saying the emperor has no clothes when it comes to wind and solar.
Now, when he's going to ban these wind farms or not fund them anymore, what happens to that? Like, you can't recycle these ugly things. And by the way, they're such an eyesore.
Yeah.
How do you recycle them?
Yes.
How do you get rid of them?
Forbes magazine had a whole article about how they're rusted relics when they're decommissioned and they're rotting away in a field. We need to remember, this isn't green energy. 2,500 tons of steel, 2,500 tons of concrete, 500 tons of steel, 25,000 tons of plastics, non-renewable plastics go in to make these. EVs take 500,000 pounds of materials to dig them up. And what ends up happening is they're a recyclable mess, and these are not green. They dig the earth in a deep way, not a 1970s groovy Brady Bunch way they dig the earth. They dig it in a literal way. So Donald Trump is ending this nonsense that we have green energy. There's nothing green about energy that digs the earth and makes us rely on China for all of our power needs. So this is a American renaissance. I can't tell you, this man has powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men, Donald Trump. That's how powerful his message is. That's what he told Davos the other day. This is unprecedented, more consequential, I believe, potentially than Ronald Reagan's presidency. We shall see.
Yeah, I definitely think it's on track for that. And you've been calling this out for a long time. You finally have a champion in the White House to do it. Donald Trump, the greatest environmental hero, it turns out.
Yes.
It's amazing. All right, Mark Morano, so great to have you on today and focusing on something that we both care about. Mark Morano, thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
All right. On to the next.
Good.
Okay. So we're going to check this out. This is fun as well. This is absolute fun right here. Okay, y'all. Listen to Trump talk about Biden not picking calls from other world leaders.
All of these investments are happening only because of our historic victory. And if we didn't win, it'd be just the opposite. They're pulling out. They were pulling out. They were really pulling out. So they would be withdrawing money. Our country was on the verge of some of the very bad things, and bad things were happening. And now there's light not only over America. I've heard it from even our enemies. They call up and they say, "Sir, we hate you. We do hate you, but there's light over the world right now." They hate me. Some of them hate me. If they liked me, you got a problem, right? They like Sleepy Joe. What's not to like? You know, they'd call up. It's funny. I was told today by one of the big leaders of the world, would call for a telephone call with the President of the United States a year ago. And they'd say, we'd like to speak with, who is this? It's the head of Germany, the head of, it's, name it, the head of France, the name of any country, it didn't matter. He would never pick up the call. They'd say, he'll call you back in 2 months. 2 months. He has his schedule. He's extremely busy sleeping. No. Macron of France, he'll call you back in 2 months. So 2 months comes along and there's no call. They'd say, he didn't call. The stories are, I mean, these stories are not very exaggerated. I want to tell you, they're a little bit for laughter, but, you know, it's only for laughter. The fake news will say, oh, he exaggerated. It was only 1 month, you know. But he'll say he'll call you back, and then he'd never call, and then they could never get him on the phone. And the problem I have is that when I speak to and I speak to them immediately, they'll say, could we speak to the president? Would that be possible? We could do it any time over the next month. They're so used to this, right? I say, no, I'll pick it up right now. Is he on the phone? Yeah, hello, how you doing? That's what, you know, get it over with, right? Get it over with. The only problem, they were so starved for love from the United States, I cannot get them off the phone. I can't get people, if you can't, I say, I have to go now, King, or I have to go now, President. But you can't get them off the phone. They're starved for love. You know, for years they haven't spoken. They didn't even know we had a president, if you want to know. But under our leadership, America is.
Oh my goodness. This is what happens when you have a competent commander-in-chief, a man who keeps to his words, a man who knows what the American people need, a man who has been given a mandate and is coming through for Americans. This is what happens. Strong, promises made, promises kept. Legendary.
Is back open for business, and it's really a big deal. It's really a big deal. And they have, though. They said, there's like a light all over the world now. It's not just here. We feel a light over our country. Everyone does. But there's a light all over the world.
Oh my goodness. This is so good, bro. This is so good. What is this?
Fantastic. So 2.5 weeks ago, over 100-mile-an-hour winds trend.
Oh, we've seen that. We've seen that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the live show. You know what time it is. It is your boy, Genesis. Okay, so there is now an update that a man was actually arrested in Florida, okay, for some sort of attempt, okay, like some sort of threat against the commander-in-chief, Donald Trump.
In the meantime, we also got an update. There's a Florida man that we heard from police that was arrested for
the city of West Palm Beach. With me over my right shoulder, Deputy Chief of Department Shearer, Assistant Chief Musco, who oversees CID, our Criminal Investigations Division. Assistant Chief Spatera runs operations. Some of the detectives involved, Detective Lieutenant DeVito, who oversees our Detective Bureau. Detective McDonald.
Detective Varielli. Detective Attieri.
There you go. I have them written down, but obviously I didn't bring my piece of paper up here with me. So I just want to start off by telling you I'm going to answer a few questions, what I might be able to answer after the information I'm about to give you. I'm done giving it to you. The victim in this case is the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. You'll see that in the probable cause affidavit once it becomes public record. I want to give you a series of the chain of the events of how this happened and how we arrived at probable cause. It'll be a quick snapshot. So I want to announce the arrest of the suspect in this case. His name is Shannon Atkins. He's a male, 46 years of age, who resides in the city of West Palm Beach. The timeline: on January 19th, late, a tip was given to the FBI National Threat Operations Center. It was given to them by a gentleman that resides in Okeechobee, Florida. He reported that threats were posted on Facebook. They were violent, rhetoric, political views, in his opinion, aimed at the president. Very early on January 20th, our West Palm Beach detective that's assigned to the FBI task force began working the case, and he too found the disturbing post. Some of the posts were Lincoln, JFK, Reagan, Martin Luther King, and Trump. Atkins posted, unfortunately, one is still alive. He wrote something to that effect. He also wrote another saying, "Bullets, please. Jesus, save America." Another one he wrote, "I've been banned from X because I said I hope and pray someone kills him. We haven't had an assassination in years." That gives you a flavor of some of the posts that this gentleman posted. After probable cause was established, we began our surveillance using our CID, our Criminal Investigations Division. Some of these officers you see up here are detectives, and our TAC unit. Mr. Atkins has 2 residences in the city of West Palm Beach. Just before 7:30 p.m. on Friday night, Atkins was stopped near one of his homes. He was driving a white 2013 BMW. When we placed him in custody, subsequently we found 3 baggies containing suspect cocaine in his pocket. they did test positive. He was arrested without incident. While being interviewed later, he admitted writing the Facebook post that said he was joking. Folks, this is not a joke. Nothing of that sort is a joke. We notified the Secret Service. They're looking at this case, and they'll make a determination if federal charges are going to be in play. In today's climate, you really can't say things like this. We have incident after incident, example after example of when these threats become real. And we take these very seriously. I want to tell the general public that they are our partners, our eyes and ears. We encourage you to report anything suspicious to the FBI, Crime Stoppers, or the free Safe Watch app that we have. That information goes directly to our STIC, our intelligence center. You can remain anonymous. As I've said before at news conferences, let us decide whether the information is actionable. We'll determine if there's reasonableness to further an investigation. And in this instance, there was. Our detectives developed probable cause, and we made an arrest. So with that, again, if you see something, say something. The charges, you have received copies of what the charges are. He was charged on their state statute. They are felonies, or one of them, or both of them are felonies. And the state attorney's office was very helpful in working in this case with us, and so was the FBI and the Secret Service. And that's another point I want to make. Working in partnership with federal law enforcement, local law enforcement, it takes all of us to keep our community safe. And in this instance, the system worked. Working with our federal partners, the information given was seamless. We do have an agent, a police officer, a detective that works on the task force, as do many jurisdictions across the land, to include this region, this area, and it worked as it should. So did we avert something? You never know what you avert. You never know what you displace. I do know that we developed probable cause. We arrested Mr. Atkins, and he's going to have to answer the charges. So with that, I also want to compliment our CID division. These detectives work tirelessly on this case, as they do every case. They did things professionally, timely, and they effected an arrest when they developed probable cause. So thank you, gentlemen, for the job well done, and also the detectives that are not here that sustained the case also out there by conducting the surveillance. So with that, I'll take a couple questions. No questions? Thank you very much for being here.
Okay, so here is the man that they're saying is threatening commander-in-chief. He makes threats, violent threats against Trump. And they also found, drugs in his pocket or in his whatever. But you got to understand, this is not the time to be divisive, okay? This is the time to come together and support the legend. This is the time to come together and say, you know what? At the end of the day, even if I didn't vote for Trump, even if you voted for Trump, even if you didn't vote for Kamala, even if you voted for Kamala, this is America, okay? You should support your country. You should support the flag, okay? Forgot the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, okay? And to the republic for which it stands. One nation, under God, indivisible. Don't forget, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do not forget your Pledge of Allegiance. And I wasn't even born in the United States. Okay. I was not born in the United States. I learned the way. I studied. I became a United States citizen. It took me 5 years. I took the test. I took the exams. I love the United States. So, this is why I say America is the greatest country on planet Earth. You can have your reservations and say, well, I don't. Well, have you traveled? Have you gone to Australia? Have you gone to Switzerland? This is what people tell Americans. Okay, this is what Americans that were born here tell me. Oh, yeah. Have you traveled? Yeah. And I'm telling you, the United States is the greatest country on earth. So join me and say the United States is the greatest on earth. Why must you argue? You are Americans. Why are you arguing about America being the greatest country in the world? What are you doing? Are you not Americans? Jesus. Get in line. All right. Pete exit.
Well, good morning, everybody. I am so happy to be here today and so thrilled to be able to swear in our new Secretary of Defense, and we are honored to have him. Now, before we do that, I have to say a few words of appreciation. First, of course, to the President of the United States for nominating a person who is respected and adored by the warfighters. This is a Secretary of Defense who will stand up for the men and women that we send overseas to fight our nation's wars. I think a lot of them feel that they haven't had somebody who's had their back. That will change because the President of the United States nominated this guy, and we are grateful to President Trump for doing so. I also want to say thank you to my Senate colleagues. It turns out we couldn't spare one, and all of you did an incredible job. In particular, my dear friend Roger Wicker, thank you for shepherding Pete through the committee. Roger did a great job. And in addition, all of the members of the Senate Armed Services Committee, who I know gave Pete the vetting and the hearing that he deserved, and I'm glad that we all ultimately decided that the President's nominee for Secretary of Defense ought to be our actual Secretary of Defense, and we're here today. I'm going to say one final thing. If you look at what has separated President Trump from so many of the people who came before him, it is the view that, number one, we should be sparing in how we deploy our most precious resource, which is the men and women who are willing to put on the uniform and put their life on the line for this country. We shouldn't send them everywhere. But two, when we do send them anywhere, we ought to empower them with the tools necessary to fight and win quickly and come home afterwards. And that is what sets this administration apart, and that's what Pete Hegseth represents. Now, finally, I, of course, have to thank the nominee himself. Pete, thank you for being willing to put yourself out there. I think you've shown yourself a man of deep character and of resolve over the last few months. Jennifer, thank you for standing by, our new Secretary of Defense, and your beautiful family, from your kids to the extended family. You guys did a hell of a job. We're proud of you, and we're glad to have you in Washington as we work to make America great again. So with that, let me administer the oath of office. Kids, come on up. All right, put your hand on the Bible, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. I, Pete Hegseth. I, Pete Hegseth. Do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear. That I will.
This right here is what people expected of Matt Gaetz. I ain't gonna cap. You can have whatever speculations, allegations about anybody. This is what people expected. Well, mostly Republicans and anybody who just had the mentality, the spirit of a fighter, okay, of a person who would never quit regardless, even if you have the whole world against him. This is what people expected of Matt Gaetz. Do not quit, even if you have to narrowly win the vote, which he narrowly won the vote. He narrowly won the vote, rather. Pete Hegseth, with all the allegations. He had this, he's a drunk, he's a dad, is it this? He paid somebody $50,000 for whatever lady he paid. They said he used to drink on the job. They said they carried him out of a restaurant or a bar or whatever. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Honey, I am the Secretary of Defense. This is what it is. This is what Trump inspired. You can have anything against anybody, okay? If you do not keep fighting, you will lose, okay? This is what I've learned in life. You can feel bad. You can feel great. You can be down. You can be whatever. People can have whatever they say they have against you. If you keep fighting, you're going to win. This is what happens. Even if you have to win by one vote. This is what people expected of Matt Gaetz. But I guess he dropped the ball.
I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I take this obligation freely.
That I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge.
The duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
The duties of the office of which I am about to enter.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. Secretary. Congratulations. Mr. Secretary, say a few words.
All praise and glory to God. His will be done, and we're grateful to be here. And as I said in my hearing, it was Jesus and Jenny. I would not be here without you, sweetheart. Thank you so much. I want to thank the President of the United States, our Commander-in-Chief, Donald Trump. We could not have a better Commander-in-Chief than him. It is the honor of a lifetime, sir, to serve under you. We look forward to having the backs of our troops and having your back in executing peace through strength, in putting America first, and in rebuilding our military. Mr. Vice President, thank you for breaking the tie. It's not the last time, or not the first time the headline reads, Junior Enlisted Marine bails out Junior Army Officer. And, you know, some people were saying, well, 50-50, that's too tight. And Senator Mark Wayne Mullen was nice enough to take my kids up to the gallery to watch the actual moment that the Vice President sealed the deal. And they came running in. They said, Dad, instead of being sad about 50-50, 51-50, they said, Dad, you won in overtime. That's the perspective I like. So thank you throughout this process, Mr. Vice President, for being incredible. I also want to thank the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee. So many members of the Senate Armed Services Committee, we became fast friends in this process. The advice, the consent, the wisdom, the guidance. I look forward to working with all of you and other senators to ensure the Defense Department has what it needs, that our nation has what it needs, and that we're prepared to defend it in all moments. To my staff, amazing staff who were with us this entire process, I see so many of you through thick and thin. We used to look at the betting odds every once in a while on this. It was low at one point. Never do that. But we defied them. And there were so many folks on the inside and then allies on the outside who stood by us every single moment. And we are eternally grateful for that. And I want to thank the warfighters. I want to thank the men and women wearing the uniform. And I've said this before when I speak, and I mean it. Every time I stand at a podium and there's bright lights and cameras, the first thing that goes through my head are the guys that I served with on the battlefield. The men and the women who I lock shields with and put my life on the line with, who never get the spotlight, who never have the cameras, who people don't know what they did in dark and dangerous places. But I know. And at the Pentagon, we're going to remember and we're going to know. And we're going to think about those warriors with every single decision that we make. We will put America first. We will bring peace through strength. And the three principles I talked about are what we will bring to that Pentagon. Restore the warrior ethos in everything that we do. Rebuild our military. And reestablish deterrence. We don't want to fight wars. We want to deter them, as you said. And we want to end them responsibly. But if we need to fight them, we're going to bring overwhelming and decisive force to close with and destroy the enemy and bring our boys home. And to my other family that's here as well, who I love, it's the honor of a lifetime. And I would be remiss if I didn't note one person in this room who doesn't expect to be recognized, but Captain Araujo is here. He was my company commander on my first deployment in Guantanamo Bay. He was there on June 3rd, 2003, when I first swore in as a second lieutenant at Princeton University, and he swore me in. And I wanted to make sure he was here today with me as well. Thank you very much. So, Mr. President, thank you very much to the American people. We have your back. We're going to get to work right away. God bless. Thank you.
Legendary.
All right, I guess that's it. Any questions?
Why should women in the armed service trust you?
Guys, let me answer that for the new secretary. All people in our armed services should trust him because he looks out for them and he's going to fight for them. And he's going to make sure that we have the kind of military that we can all be proud in, that we can all be proud of, and that, again, when we send it to do a job, we do it well, we do it quickly, and then we get the hell out. And that's what Secretary Hegseth is going to bring to the Department of Defense. Anything else?
Are you worried about any of the nominees coming really close to the line as we saw with Hegseth last night?
You know, as I learned with the Buckeyes just a week ago, when you win the championship, you don't give a damn what the score was. We won the championship on this one. We've got a great Secretary of Defense. We're proud of him, and he's going to do a great job. Thank you all. Take care.
JD's way too smooth, y'all. Yeah, he's way too smooth. 2028, he's just way too smooth, yo. JD Vance. Shout out to JD Vance, man. The people love him, and is going to be one of the coolest vice president for the next 4 years. Damn. Pete Hegseth. He has how many kids? I think 7 or 8 kids. Yeah, he ain't playing. 7 or 8 kids, yo, Pete. Man, Pete, you've been working overtime, dog. He's been working overtime. Tell you that much. He's going to take that tenacity, that hard work to the Secretary of Defense. And he's going to make sure Pentagon finally passes their IRS audit. That, I'm going to tell you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We'll now go to one of your friends in the EU, Patrick Pouyanné. He's the chairman and CEO of Total Energies. I guess you have a question ready, Patrick, for the president.
Mr. President, as we understand, energy is at the top of your agenda, and it's an honor for me to represent the energy industry tonight. In this panel, Total Energies is indeed the 4th largest oil and gas and electricity company in the world. I will not ask you a question about the oil price. It's quite clear what you expect from us. I will go to gas more. And our company is the largest #1 exporter LNG from the U.S. Company. We are a strong contributor to, and we invest in a mammoth LNG projects in Texas, $20 billion. It's far from 200, but it's $20 billion. And we contribute with that to security of supply to Europe as we export this LNG to Europe. Some experts fear that if
This right here is another leader talking to our commander-in-chief, Donald Trump, saying, we understand what you expect from us. Can you imagine the level of respect these people are showing to Trump? Because they know he is a symbol of strength. They know you don't want to 5-4, F around, and find out. They know we have to put some respect on this man's name. He understands his assignment. He knows what must be done. He's kind, he's loving, he doesn't want wars. But if you try something stupid, you're going to find out.
there are too many projects developed in the US on LNG, this could have an inflationary impact on the US domestic gas price. And they recommend a pause on these projects. I would ask you the following question. What are your views about such a pause on investments on LNG in the US? What would happen if you would observe an increased domestic gas price because of these exports? And final question, which is important for Europe, would you agree to guarantee security of supplies of US LNG to Europe?
Well, on the last part of your question, yes, I would. I would make sure that you get it. If we make a deal, we make a deal, you'll get it. Because a lot of people do have that problem. They make a deal and then it can't get supplied because of war-type problems and other problems. So we would absolutely do that. LNG is very interesting because when I took office for the first term, one of the first things I looked at was there were two.
First of all, I got to say thank you so much to the Lion Fire. Shout out to the Lion Fire. Thank you for the super chat. And if you don't know, we are streaming both ways, horizontal and vertical. Okay, so if you're on the horizontal, you would see that the Lion Fire is there. And if you are on the vertical, you would see that we have the gorgeous Vegas, and we have the Man on Fire, local things, and we have, of course, Zyro's Garden. And God bless you, the moderators. But just want to read the Lion Fire's comment right here. The Lion Fire comments. He says, I am an American soldier. I am a warrior and a member of a team. I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values. Soldier's Creed, to God be the glory. In Jesus' name, I love being this witness. Jesus is King. I just added that one. I just wanted you guys to know Jesus is King, you know. But shout out to the Lion Fire. God bless you.
Very massive plants in Louisiana, a state that has been very good to me, won it by many, many points. And I felt strongly indebted to it, actually. And they said there are two plants that have been under environmental consideration for more than 10 years. And they were costing, as you say, you know how expensive those plants are, but they were costing like 12 billion and I think 14 or 15 billion, but they couldn't get their permits. They were in review for years, many, many years, like a decade or more. And I said, so ridiculous. I know so much about that because in the construction industry, I had to go through it too, but I got good at it after a while. But I saw the projects, and you're talking about a total investment of 25 to $30 billion, and it looked like it was going to end. They couldn't get their permits, and I got them done in less than a week. It was done, completed. In fact, when they called them to announce that it was done, the countries
largely countries. Japan was involved and another country and some very big investors. They couldn't believe it. They actually couldn't believe it. And I said, just do yourself one favor. Don't pay any consultants, because the only one that got it done was me. I got it done because it was the right thing to do for the U.S. and for the world. But the consultants had nothing to do with it. You know, the consultants go in and they say, give us millions of dollars because Trump did it. Nobody called me about it. I just heard it was a problem for years. And I got it done because it was the right thing to do for the U.S. and the right thing to do for beyond. It had to do with energy, very important. So I think it's very important. I think I disagree with one. I think the more that you do, the lower the price is going to go. And what I'd like to see is rapid approvals. We're going to give very rapid approvals in the United States, like with the AI plants, talking to many people want to build them. That's going to be a very big thing. We're going to build electric generating facilities. They are going to build. I'm going to get them the approval. Under emergency declaration, I can get the approvals done myself without having to go through years of waiting. And the big problem is we need double the energy we currently have in the United States. Can you imagine? For AI to really be as big as we want to have it, because it's a very competitive, it'll be very competitive with China and others. So I'm going to give emergency declarations so that they can start building them almost immediately. And I think it was largely my idea because nobody thought this was possible. It wasn't that they were not smart, because they're the smartest. But I told them that what I want you to do is build your electric generating plant right next to your plant as a separate building, connected. And they said, wow, you're kidding. And I said, no, I'm not kidding. You don't have to hook into the grid, which is old and, could be taken out. If it's taken out, they wouldn't have any way to get any electricity. So we are going to allow them to go on a very rapid basis to build their plant, build the electric generating plant. They can fuel it with anything they want, and they may have coal as a backup, good, clean coal, If there were a problem with a pipe coming in, as an example, you're going with gas, oil or gas, and a pipe gets blown up or for some reason doesn't work, there are some companies in the U.S. that have coal sitting right by the plant so that if there's an emergency, they can go to that short-term basis and use our very clean coal. So that's something else that a lot of people didn't even know about. But nothing can destroy coal, not the weather, not a bomb, nothing. It might make it a little smaller, might make it a little different shape, but coal is very strong as a backup. It's a great backup to have that facility, and it wouldn't cost much more money. And we have more coal than anybody. We also have more oil and gas than anybody. So we're going to make it so that the plants will have their own electric generating facilities.
He makes us look strong by just being very, very strong personality. Okay? He makes us look strong. Because we are strong, actually. Of course, everybody knows that. The world knows that. But when you have a leader that is falling upstairs, okay, going into the Amazon rainforest to visit the jaguars, what do you expect? Sleeping in Angola, can't find his way off stages. I mean, what do you expect? People would not respect the United States, but now they know. Hostages are already getting freed, reuniting with their families. Trump is literally reuniting these hostages with their families. He's only been here for 5 working days. Keyword, 5 working days. He's only been here for 5 working days. And he's done more than Joe the past 4 years. All right, this is a throwback for yesterday.
You got it. I don't want to be the only one to give you permits like in one day, and then I find out that the cities, the towns, and the state is not going to give you permits. And the problem with permits, it only takes one. Yeah. You might need 7 different permits. You shouldn't have any at this point. You should just let them build. And you're only as good as the weakest one. So if you have one that's going to hold you up, but the others are going to give it to you in 24 hours, it's not going to help you very much. So they have to work on that.
It's what everybody said.
Well, and let me just tell you that we are going to do everything we can, slashing regulations, expediting everything so that people can begin the process right away. You know, we have the Disaster Recovery Center on Pico and Westwood. We have building and safety there. People are already contacting the local agencies. We're bringing our city departments together so that people don't get caught in the loop of going from one room to the next. We want them all to be in the same room so that you can get busy rebuilding ASAP. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And we will clear the lots, absolutely, in the city and in the county. We are working together. Both levels of government are working in unity.
Girl.
Yes.
6 months is no good.
And the number one thing that we are going to do immediately, and you will see this happen, is to clear out the debris. And you know, we're concerned right now over the weekend because of the potential rain, but we are going to move as fast as we can, but we want you to be safe.
Why is it that when Trump sits down with this Democrat leaders, they tend to want to work fast? They say, well, we're going to do it immediately. We're going to go fast. We're going to go right now. No, you ain't. No, you ain't. You're just saying that because you know a very competent person is with you, sitting with you. Because this man carries, I'm sure if you are around this guy, you would feel like you can accomplish anything on earth because his aura is just, I was gonna say glorifying because I mean, come on, this man has been through everything. He's been a billionaire since the late 70s. Okay, so I'm sure his aura is just God sent. All right, so she felt it. She's like, I can't be here talking about we gonna do it in 6 months, 8 months. I gotta say immediately, okay? I gotta say it right now. We're gonna move fast. And when she said 6 months, Trump said 6 months ain't no good, yo. 6 months is no good. Watch.
We want you to be back in your homes immediately.
But the people are willing to clean out their own debris. It doesn't
Yes,
cost
and
a
they
lot.
can,
You
and
should
they are
let them
able
do
to-
it because
No, no,
by
no,
the
they
time you
can do
hire
that.
contractors, it's
Right.
going to be 2 years.
If a family...
The people are willing to get a dumpster and do it themselves and clean it out.
And they can
There's
do
not that much left. It's all incinerated.
That's right.
And, you know, it's just going to take a long time if you do. You can do some of it, but a lot of these people, I know that guy right there that's talking. I know my people. You'll be on that thing tonight, throwing the stuff away, and your site it'll look perfect within 24 hours, and that's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to wait around for 7 months till the city hires some demolition contract that's going to charge him $25,000 to do his lot. Yeah. I think you have emergency powers just like I do, and I'm exercising my emergency powers. You have to exercise them also.
I did exercise them.
Because I looked, I mean, you have a very powerful emergency power. And
Shh. Let the commander-in-chief talk, okay? Let the commander-in-chief talk. Relax. That's not good when you're talking on the commander-in-chief. He is the president. 77.3 million people voted for him. So, shush. Let him talk.
You can do everything within 24 hours.
Yes. And if individuals want to clear out their property, they can. Well, yes, but you know that you will be able to go back soon.
Mr. President.
We think within a week.
That's a long time, a week. I'll be honest. To me, everyone's standing in front of their house. They want to go to work, and they're not allowed to do it.
And the most important thing is for people to be safe.
They're safe. They're safe. You know what? They're not safe. They're not safe now.
Exactly.
They're going to be much safer. A week is actually a long time, the way I look at it. I watched hundreds of people standing in front of their lots, and they're not allowed to go in. It's all burned. It's gone. It's done. Nothing's going to happen to it. It's not going to burn anymore. There's nothing to burn. There's almost nothing to burn.
And they want to go in. The people are all over the place. They're standing, and they say, why aren't you going in? We're trying to get a permit. And the permit's going to take them, everybody said 18 months. You said 18 months. You said 18 months.
That was last night.
And that was last night.
On that.
18 months, yo. 18 freaking months. That's what they were going to do because Trump said, I'm going to California. And on this day, which was yesterday, 2 days ago now because today is Sunday, Friday, okay, he visited North Carolina, Asheville, and he visited LA County, California. In one day, 2 visits. Oh, Biden could never. Oh, Biden could never. 2 cities in one day. And he did press conferences. It wasn't just like photo op. Let me just go there, take some photos so they know I came there. He sat down with these people. He spoke with these people. He literally had a conversation with these people. And he's only been the president for 7 days. Already doing 2 cities in one day. Today, which was yesterday, he was in Las Vegas, Nevada. Vegas. He was in Las Vegas. Did you know that? Did you know he was in Las Vegas? That rhymed, right? Vegas, Las Vegas. Yeah. He's been working every single day. Every day, he's had something to do. Unlike Joe Biden, 2 days to leave the office, he starts signing executive orders. He starts giving pardons, preemptive pardons. Because you're leaving now, you want to start working? This is what a leader does. As soon as you vote them in, they do the first thing they promised the voters they were going to do. And he's done everything, like literally. And it's still working. 7 days in, yo. We have 4 more years. We have the whole 4 years to go. The whole 4 years, and he's already working. Yeah, you go. Yeah, you gonna have to give this man his flowers, yo.
Right. It was the first time.
Mr. President, we're going to be together next week, and during the interim, many of us are involved in, and Tom McClintock, who you know has been an expert on this for years.
That's right.
We are going to be putting conditions on the money that do 2 things. Require that it be done timely and affordable, and then secondly, that we protect those who will come afterwards. As we speak, there are 6,000 acres burning in my district on the Mexican border. There will be more fires until we include in any disaster relief items which will prevent it or at least mitigate it from happening again. So you're going to see us proposing both of those.
Like water. Little things like water. You know, the party of common sense. See, we're the party of common sense. You're not, in all fairness.
Yes, sir.
We like water to put out fires. It's really quite efficient.
Oh, God. This man right here, he just makes me happy, yo. He gives them what they want to hear. They cannot handle Trump. And this is just 7 days in. You want to keep going or you want to stop the show right here? Let me know in the chat. You want to keep going or you want to stop the show right here? I know local things want to do 24-hour stream. I know. We're going to do it like after Wednesday, okay, because I got a lot to do. But let's do 1 or 2 more.
Conservatives, because what you're doing is wrong.
Mr. President, I'll say that your friend Gianni said hello, told me to tell you hello, and we look forward to sponsoring the World Cup when it comes both this summer for the club and next year. So thank you for getting that for the United States.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you, Mr. President. We'll now go to Ana Butin. She's the executive chairman of Banco Santander, one of the big European banks, and also in the U.S. So, Ana.
Mr. President, congratulations on a historic victory. I believe you don't know me as well as my fellow panelists, so a few words. Santander is one of the largest banks in the world by number of customers, 170 million. That's more than my friend Brian or my friend Jamie have. And those...
They fix the regulation.
That's coming.
That was cheeky.
We're a big investor in the United States. We have many million customers, 12,000 employees. We're one of the largest auto lenders. And we recently launched a fully digital bank called Open Bank. We strongly believe banks have a pivotal role in the economy, and we can accelerate growth and help many more customers. That's what we're doing in the United States. So, as Brian pointed out, we very much welcome your focus on deregulation and reducing bureaucracy. So my question is, what are your priorities in this regard, and how fast is this going to happen? Thank you very much.
I think it's going to, thank you and congratulations. I know very much about your bank, and you've done a fantastic job. Congratulations. We are going to move very quickly. We've moved very quickly. We've done things in the last 3 days that nobody thought were possible to do in years. And it's all taking effect. It's going to have a huge impact on the economy, a huge positive impact. Money was being wasted on crazy things. I mean, the Green New Deal was such a total disgrace, how that was perpetrated. And it was conceived of by people that were average students, less than average students, I might add, and never even took a course in energy or the environment. It was just a game. Remember, the world was going to end in 12 years? Remember that? Well, the 12 years has come and gone. It was going to end. It was going to all foam into earth. But, you know, the time has come. These people, and they really scared the Democrats large. I can't say the Republicans. The Republicans maybe could have fought harder to stop it, but it's been a tremendous waste of money. You know, during my 4 years, we had the cleanest air, we had the cleanest water, and yet we had the most productive economy in the history of our country. We had the most productive economy until COVID came. We had the most productive in the history of our country by far, and actually, you can look worldwide. We were beating everybody from China to everybody else. So, and we think we really now, with what we have learned and all of the other things that have taken place, we think we can even far surpass that, actually far, far surpass it. But we do, one thing we're going to be demanding is we're going to be demanding respect from other nations. Canada, we have a tremendous deficit with Canada. We're not going to have that anymore. We can't do it. I don't know if it's good for them. As you probably know, I say you can always become a state. And if you're a state, we won't have a deficit. We won't have to tariff you, et cetera, et cetera. But Canada has been very tough to deal with over the years. And it's not fair that we should have a $200 billion or $250 billion deficit. We don't need them to make our cars, and they make a lot of them. We don't need their lumber because we have our own forests, et cetera, et cetera. We don't need their oil and gas. We have more than anybody. So, you know, just as an example, with Mexico, we're dealing with Mexico, I think, very well. And we're just, you know, we just want to be treated fairly with other nations, because there's hardly a nation in the world, and I blame this on us, and I blame it on politicians that, for some reason, probably mostly it's stupidity, but you could also say other reasons, but mostly stupidity. They've allowed other nations to take advantage of the U.S., and we can't allow that to happen anymore. You know, we have debt. It's a very small debt when you compare it to the value of the assets that we have, but we don't want to do that. We want to just have debt be obliterated, and we'll be able to do that fairly rapidly. And a lot of good things are going to happen. And honestly, good things are going to happen for the world, and good things are going to happen for the people that are dealing with us, allies and beyond allies. One thing very important, I really would like to be able to meet with President Putin soon and get that war ended. And that's not from the standpoint of economy or anything else. It's from the standpoint of millions of lives are being wasted. Beautiful young people are being shot in the battlefield. You know, the bullet, very flat land, as I said, and the bullet goes, there's no hiding. And a bullet, the only thing going to stop the bullet is a human body. And you have to see, I've seen pictures of what's taken place. It's a carnage, and we really have to stop that war. That war is horrible. And I'm not talking economy. I'm not talking economics. I'm not talking about natural resource. I'm just talking about there's so many young people being killed in this war, and that's not including the people.
This man wants peace. Trump is supposed to be the figure that would cause war, uproar. No, he's the one that's actually advocating for peace. Isn't this wonderful? People say, well, he's uncontrollable. You better check him out. You can't control Trump. Yes, you can't. You cannot control Trump. But he has a good heart and he wants peace. That's why he said Liz Cheney makes decisions that would send boys, men to war. But she's just doing it from, like a boardroom. Would she like to go to war? He said that, and guess what? That was last year before the election. And, of course, the media goes bonkers. They start saying Trump says Liz Cheney should be shot at. She No, he's just telling you these folks in high grounds in their AC office, three-piece suit, top clearance, security details to send the men to war. He doesn't want to send the boys to war. He does not. He wants peace. How is that bad?
People that have been killed as the cities are being, knocked down building by building. So we really should get that stopped. Likewise,
He's just legendary, yo. That's all I can tell you. All right, OG, status.
So thank you very much. We just heard that we have a great Secretary of Defense. We're very happy about that, and we appreciate everybody's vote. And very importantly, I think we had two fantastic meetings in North Carolina and also in Los Angeles. And we made a lot of progress. It's tragic events, really tragic. And we appreciate you being here, and we're going home. No. We just had a good talk. We're on the same team. We want to get it fixed. So we had a very good talk with the governor. Had a very, very good talk.
What do you think of Mr. McConnell voting against Haig's nomination?
I didn't know that. I just know we won. I didn't know that.
Do you think the mayor got the message that you've got to cut red tape and get
I
stuff
hope
done
the mayor
faster?
got the message. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I hope so. Look, I think she means well. But these people want to get about building their house. They're not going to wait around 18 months, and they're not going to wait around a long time. So we're going to give an immediate permit.
Are you concerned about any other nominations for confirmation in the Senate?
No, I'm honored to have Pete. I think Pete.
Keep in mind, this was after like the 2 hours conversation he had in California. And before that, he was in North Carolina. He did press conferences when he was in North Carolina. When he landed in California, he did press conferences. Now, he's doing more press conference on the same day. At night, he started his day early. Look at him. This man, keep in mind, this man is 78 years old. And when I talk to people, I'm like, if God, keeps me till 78 years old, I want to have this strength. Whatever is on, his energy is just mind blowing. 78 years old, he has more strength than most late 20s, early 30s that I've met. He keeps going every single time. He's just so inspired. And in turn, he is inspiring. Okay? When I say Trump is inspiring, people are going to say, well, what has he done to inspire you? Just this, working nonstop, back to back, at 78 years old, being indicted before the election, home raided in Mar-Lago, okay, going to the courtroom, from the courtroom to the campaign grounds to town halls, try to smear his name, 2 assassination attempt, jumped up and said, fight, fight, fight. How? How is that not inspiring, y'all? Because I don't even understand these days. What truly inspires you? Like, what do you call inspiration? This is inspiration for me, to me, okay? This man inspires. He inspires me, all right? If you can go from being indicted to the president of the United States, if you can go from being shot at to being the president of the United States, anything is possible. Anything is possible, okay? Never give up. This is why I always tell you guys, like, never ever give up. Just like the 45th and now the 47th.
He's going to be a great Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and we're honored to have him.
I apologize, I couldn't hear you. Did you say you were speaking to him on the phone?
No, I did.
Somebody just put in the chat, he is like a junkie. You mean energy junkie? You mean actualizing your dream junkie? You mean a junkie for success? You mean a junkie for change? That's what he is. He is a junkie of make America great again. When people cannot understand where the source of your strength comes from, what do? They try to smear your name, they try to pull you down, and they never succeed. God is with Trump. Get in line, pray for him, and don't be like the bishop or the priestess that was telling Trump, well, the people are scared. Okay, they're scared. The gays, the lesbians. Man, please. The illegal immigrants are scared. Ma'am, illegal. That's the first word you said. Okay, relax. Okay, your job is to pray for the president and pray for the vice president and their families and pray to God. You started talking about illegal migration. Even the Bible says, give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar. But I guess the priestess didn't get the memo.
Speak to Pete, yeah, in the plane, in the helicopter. I think Pete is going to be a great Secretary of Defense.
Are you disappointed that McConnell voted no?
I didn't even know that. No, I don't know that. I just heard that we won. Winning is what matters, right? So thank you very much, everybody. Are you going on the plane? Good. Maybe I'll see you on the plane.
He's asking them, the media, are you going on the plane? He's been working all day. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm inspired. I don't care what nobody say. I am inspired by this level of action. Okay? If you take action on this level, there's no way. There's just no way you would not achieve the American dream. He works non-stop. This is why he's so successful. This is why the American people trusted him with the mandate to bring back the great economy he brought before his last term. So it's like they know, they trust him. His name is an assurance. Trump is like a brand that screams action. Promises made, promises kept. He's asking them, are you going to get on the plane? Biden wouldn't. What? Get on the plane? Biden can't even get on the plane. Jill has to say, come here, baby. Come here, baby. This is the way, baby. And he's going. Jill is like, hey, baby, this way. Holding him. Making sure he doesn't fall. Look at Trump. Legendary.
We'll see you on the plane. Thank you.
The Dawn. This right here is the Dawn, yo. The Dawn. There is no way. None. can do this. Nobody. Yeah, dang. Oh, he still has the strength to salute. Man, you look. This is my commander in chief. I don't care what nobody say. This right here is the definition of a leader. Melania up there and say, I'm sure Melania is up there because she followed him to North Carolina and California. I'm sure Melania is up there. She said, my husband is coming up. I mean, who would not be proud of a husband like this? I mean, like, this is your husband, Trump? Trump is your husband? God, hey. Mm, 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 mm. I didn't throw my vote away, yo. I did not throw my vote away. I voted for the legend, Donald Trump. And this is what I get. Competence. 100% competence. And somebody just said in the chat, somebody said, don't smoke too much weed or something like that. I don't even smoke, bro. This eyes that you see right here, a very special person to me passed away yesterday. And I cried my eyes out. I wasn't going to do the live show. I said I was not going to come on live. But to keep my routine and to make sure that I don't fry myself to some craziness, because I don't drink either. I mean, I drink occasionally, but I don't just sit down and drink alcohol. I don't smoke. So I cried for a long time. I cried because this person, you know, is special to me. All right. But she left a legacy, you know, that I see every single day. And I'll talk about it later in life, but it's still fresh. It's less than 24 hours that she passed. Okay. But you would never know because God is my strength. So you can say whatever you want to say. But this right here is this is a reminder that life is short. Life is short. Don't waste your time. Believe in something or die for nothing. Okay? And God is love. He's always interacting with everybody around him is trying to figure out, what do you think? What is going on? This is what a commander-in-chief does. It's not just going to go and get in the car and then buy. Nah. He's having conversations. Is interacting, yo. He converses with these people. It's not just commander-in-chief, go. Nah, he ain't doing that. He's a very relatable person. And, of course, the Democrat, they're going to cry. That's all they do. That's all they do. They talk. This is why they lost the election. Bunch of talks, no action. Talk. We're working hard. Working hard how? This is the United States government. You're working hard. Working hard doing what? You literally have all the power that you need to get things done. I was about to say to get shit done. But you have all the authority to get things done. This is the United States government. Trump makes you feel like, oh shit, you can actually get things done. That's what Trump brings to the White House. Biden would come on stage and say, we're trying hard. If you're trying hard, what are we supposed to do? We are trying hard. You are the United States government. What do you mean we're trying hard? No, you have the authority. Okay, get it done. Don't come out here if you ain't gonna get it done. Talking about we trying hard. No, we, the people, we are trying hard. We go to work. Okay, even if sometimes we lose loved ones, we still come out here, do our duties. Okay, we take responsibilities. You, on the other hand, you have every power on earth. Okay, all the resources, all the networks to get things done. And you're going to come out here and say, we're trying hard. Now, you're going to have to try harder. He must be so tired. He must be so tired, but very inspired. Do you know what you must be thinking? That, 77.3 million people voted for me. I cannot F up. This can never happen. I have to stay on my A game. I'm sure that's, of course, God is his strength, but he's thinking about this. Well, first of all, he's thinking about all Americans. But the chip on his shoulders are the 77.3 million people who voted for him. So we are like his strength. And it keeps going, saying, these people care about me. They love me. They gave me a mandate, and I have to deliver on those mandates. That's what keeps him going. Because I don't know how he never stops going. I don't know how. How can you be? He's going to be 79 years old this year. 79, yo. Oh, man. I don't know. He's probably in there talking about, maybe the driver was like, "Sir, we're taking you home so you can get some rest." It's like, "Oh no, I got a meeting." He's probably in there arguing with the driver, saying, "Don't take me home. I got more stops. What's the time? Is it midnight yet? We're gonna have to do more stops, okay?" And the driver is like, "Sir, the first lady has been calling us. She said to bring you home." What I tell you? I said I have more meetings to attend to today. Okay? The American people voted for me because they know I'm gonna get shit done. And the driver's like, "Sir, the first lady, she just called. She said to bring your ass home. Because you ain't gonna come home by yourself. Because you gonna work, work, work." Yeah. Man. There's no way. There's just no way. Proud. I am proud to have voted for Donald Trump. And I know you guys are proud too. I know for a fact you guys are proud as well. So let's be proud together. Enjoy the moment. This next 4 years would be glorious. Okay. This would be glorious years. And shout out to you for tuning in. Instead of looking for perfection, seek for consistency. Never give up on yourself. Never give up on your dreams. Never give up on God. Believe in yourself. Believe in your dreams. And believe in Almighty God. Life is hard. Mm, 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 mm. Life is hard. But you got to show up, okay? Because you are stronger than you think. I promise you that, okay? You can break down, okay? You can cry, you can do whatever you want to do, but get up. Get up, okay? Keep on going, keep on moving, keep on fighting, keep on climbing. If you do not quit, you will succeed, okay? One more time. Life is hard, but if you do not quit, you will succeed. Take, for example, the 45th, now the 47th. His grit and his determination. He never quits. So if you say you admire Trump, then you should embody that character, okay? Keep on fighting for your family, people that care about you. And of course, fathers, take care of your kids, all right? Take care of your kids and stay strong, all right? Stay strong. Somebody says, grow up and show up. Mm-mm. I like that. Grow up and show up. I like that, Eva. All right. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Also, we have a new member on the channel, the Lion Fire. Shout out to the Lion Fire. He is the new member on the channel. God bless you, the Lion Fire. And thank you for your service. Okay. Thank you so much for your service. You guys protect the homeland. God bless you. And God bless you guys, man. Thank you to the moderators. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. If you have not subscribed to the channel, go on ahead, subscribe to the channel. If you have not turned on the notification bell, go on and turn on the notification bell. And if you need to join the membership, it is $4.99. Join the membership, support the channel, and God bless you. Okay? God bless you. No matter what you're going through, God is with you. Okay? God is your strength. I promise you that, because God is my strength. If I could make it today, because I thought I was never going to make it, but here I am with you guys. I made it. So God is love. God is your strength. Matter of fact, God is the strength of your life. Okay, God is the strength of your life. So never think you're fragile. God loves you, and He will empower you. Okay, I love you guys, man. It is your boy Genesis, and I have to sign out. All right. I love you guys. And also go check the videos that we uploaded on the video page. This is the live page. Thank you for watching the live. But also we have tons of videos on the video page. So go check it out. Support the channel. God bless you. I love you guys.